content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
What's cracking, y'all? I'm Gigi, man. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, with no chases. Let me turn this music off, man. Matter of fact, let me go to a whole different scene, man. Let me go to the scene I want to start off with, man. All right, so before I even get started, man, I do want to shout out all the members of the Green Gorilla channel. All that, you know, theatrics right now I'm not into. So anyway, man, Broken Blade, shout out to you, Mr. King, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Larry R., Seth Son, Michael Ross, Divine Love, Ridge, Afro Troop TV, Show Me, and Brotherly Love 215. Big up to y'all, okay? Big up to Jay Cleveland, Green, Rais Moajid, Spain Man, Lee Ways, Ben Cannon, Kenton, Seven Coast Dojo, and Apex Prowler. Big up. Anthony Davis, I'm Just Jules, Black's Word 404, and Honest Look, Sherlin Woe, Ricky Dawson, Stefan Julius Ferguson, Lord Hamal, True 7360, and Mr. Me Too. Big up to y'all, man. Call for President, Superman's Cape, Gold Professor, AKs and Curtains. Big up to y'all. H-Town, Roguish, BD Main, Adrian Thomas, Electrician 480, Benga, Cutting Up with the Jones and Zanco 1. Big up to y'all. D. Scott, Path Guy, Pete Rock, Aaron Peters, Barnolis, Dardar, Vincent Lindsay, Beautiful Trauma, Quiz the Poet, Black Wizard, ADOS, and Jazz Tech. Big up to y'all. Shadow Observer, Sugar T, Artisan MC, Kyle J. Sura, Kareem, Troy Warren, Mrs. KP Bailey, Alan Wiley, The Face, Life of Commerce, and Dreamlit. Big up to y'all. A. Wilson's Ghost, Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, Marvin Battle Jr., Adam, BGS Ibmore, Ignatz Mouse, Brian Peaks, Papa Dida, Scott Haywood, and Black Uru. Big up to y'all. Dr. Tree 33, Leroy Honeycutt 77, Base X, Brian McMurray, Karen S., Charles Rogers, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Greg, Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, and Cameron 87. Big up to y'all. Big up to Dr. Rock, Mark Swift, I Collard, Donald Watts, Coach Hotep, Old Soul Chief, Mr. Blue Collar, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, MLR, and Universal 178. Big up to y'all. Okay? On the Patreon side, man, big up to Chris Flowers, Christopher Burton, Daxby, J Live, Rashawn, Keith Bass, Nick, Albert C., Dr. Ben Vincent, Jay Cleveland, I see you out there. I'm the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, Tyrone Hampton, Darnell Smith, Excalibur, Pursuer, Prisoner Taz, Dragon 59, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, Momal and the Sangre. Can't forget the brethren that's dead and gone, Forrest Windu, Kevin Samuels, and David Carroll, straight up. Okay, so anyway, man, you know, I did this impromptu because it's a thought that ran through my mind. And bro, I swear to God, man, I'm sick and tired of hearing people say the shit that I'm about to explain to y'all, okay? So, look, I'm asking for women and for men. I'm asking for black men, white men. I'm asking for white women, black women. Whatever kind of woman you are, I don't give a fuck if you red, you brown, you purple, you yellow. I don't care if you're straight or if you're gay. I don't give a damn what you are. I don't care what identity, you know, category you check a box with. I just don't give a flying fuck, right? I don't care. I don't care. But what I want you to do first and foremost is to stop asking men to meet contradictory standards. Standards that make no sense when you think of things logically. Just stop doing the shit. So look, women have asked for civic equality. What does that mean? It means that women have access to positions in society that men have. You asked for this. This was part of second wave feminism. It was asked for. It has been granted. Women have asked for liberal egalitarianism, which means freedom to move to and fro. That's the freedom of self-determination. You have it. You have received it. It's what you asked for. It's part of the package. It's part of the fucking deal. Okay? You've asked for financial independence. You have it. You've received it. You got it. It's part of the fucking deal. It's part of the deal. It's part of what you demanded as a portion of what justice requires. So you have it. Women are free to do what they want to do, go where they want to go. They can go to schools of whatever kind they desire. They can have any job in any kind of profession that they desire. All they have to do is meet the standards and the objectives and the criteria laid out in those disciplines or in those professions. But as a result of having fought for these rights and having received them, many women act as if either they're better than men, or better yet, that now they are new and improved men. While men themselves are regarded as less masculine, feminine, or even less than human. And I'm just getting tired of hearing this stupid shit. And the framework that it comes in is in relationships and men, how much they're supposed to contribute to it versus women and how much they're supposed to contribute to it. I'm tired of men and women, black and white, whoever the fuck they may be. I'm tired of hearing that men, as they are men or men qua men, if they are masculine, they're paying for every goddamn thing. I'm tired of, and if they aren't, then they're not masculine, they're not actually real fucking men, and that gives an excuse for women to do whatever the fuck they want to do and be disrespectful, ignorant as fuck, to gaslight, to fucking, be passive aggressive or outright aggressive. I'm sick and tired of hearing this shit. I hear men doing it, or men who consider themselves to be high value men or whatever the fuck. I'm tired of y'all niggas saying this stupid shit too, because you don't know history. You don't fucking know history. And I'm tired of half-baked ass concepts and values and norms being predicated on ahistorical understandings of history and the roles of men and women in families throughout even American history, European history. It don't fucking matter. I'm just tired of hearing stupid shit out of stupid niggas and women's lips. I'm tired of hearing the shit. I'm tired. I done just about had it up to my fucking earballs with stupidity. And you ask the question, well, what are you basing it on? Okay, I'm basing it on fucking facts, bro. Which a lot of you motherfuckers are just going with these gender norms. Where do they come from, bro? That you supposed to pay everything while she's supposed to sit her ass at the crib and live a life of luxury and conspicuous fucking consumption. Where are you niggas getting this shit from, bro? Where the fuck are y'all getting that shit from? Explain to me where the fuck it's coming from. I guarantee you half of your mamas went to work. I bet you half of your fucking grandmamas went to goddamn work. I'm tired of hearing this stupid shit. I guarantee you most of your mamas went to work, whoever the fuck you are. If you under 50, if you over 50, I guarantee you your mama went to fucking work. She didn't live a fucking life of luxury and conspicuous goddamn consumption. I guarantee you she didn't. I'm sick and tired of hearing this shit. And I'm hearing women demand that in order for them to actually respect the motherfucker, that nigga gotta pay every goddamn thing. He gotta pay 100% of all the fucking bills and expenses related to a household, and that's the sole determinant of whether or not that motherfucker's a man. I'm sick of that shit, bro. I'm done with that shit. And I don't want to hear none of you fuck niggas say it again for real. Otherwise, I'm going to come up wherever the fuck you are and heckle and haggle and troll your ass. I said I don't do trolling, but I'm about to start trolling motherfuckers for this shit. Because y'all stupid as a motherfucker. I hear Sims saying it. I hear niggas that think that they alpha men saying it. I'm sick and tired of hearing this stupid ass shit. Because it's fucking dumb, man. And it ain't even based in historical fact. And a perfect example. Perfect fucking case in point. And I don't care about monetization and none of that shit. I care about the truth. So if you don't want to fucking support, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if the video is monetized, none of that shit. I don't care. But a perfect fucking case in point. I heard this shit from this chick right here. It pissed me off. Listen to this bullshit.
That's because white men aren't asking black women to go 50-50.
White men aren't asking black women to go 50-50. First of all, what the fuck do you mean? 50-50 in what? Marriages? Relationships? So white men, for the most part, when they engage in relationships with white women, because let's tell the truth. Let's talk about interracial relationships between blacks and whites as it pertains to males and females. Now we know, amongst black newlyweds, motherfuckers getting married, black men are twice as likely as black women to have a spouse of a different fucking race or ethnicity. That's the facts, bro. White men ain't marrying your motherfucking asses. They not fucking doing it. So stop having this goddamn standard of what white boys is fucking doing when they ain't fucking with your asses. They not lining up to marry your motherfucking asses. So what the fuck you using them as a goddamn measuring stick for? For what? White men aren't asking black women to go. They ain't asking you for shit at all. If anything, they fucking your ass and fuck them in feet. Find them, fuck them, and flee. That's what they doing. The triple F on your ass. Find them, fuck them, flee. That's what they've been doing since slavery. Then they make you go in the house and breastfeed they goddamn kids. And you ain't even birthed the little motherfuckers. But now you want the stand, you want what Miss Ann got now? Come on, man. Cut the bullshit out, man. I'm sick of this stupid shit. I'm sick of hearing stupidity, bro. This has been a long-standing gap in between interracial relationships with black men and black women. Black women, you really ain't got much of an option because these other men is not rocking with you. If they are rocking with you, they rocking you with some hard D and bouncing the fuck on out. So let's just be real about the shit. Stop the bullshit. Shout out to Sun Ra, man. Shout out to him, man. I'm sick and tired of hearing stupid shit, bro. And this is emblematic of the stupid shit. Shout out to Ghetto User, man. And I don't give a fuck if this shit get monetized or not, man. I don't give a fuck if I get banned. Because the truth, at some point, the truth has to come out. This shit right here pisses me off, man.
Ever. I work in a pharmacy, so I meet a lot of older white men. So like 50 and up or whatever.
How many older 50-year-old men and up is fucking with young black women at all to begin with either. Why are you relying on the testimony and the value system and the axiological principles laid out by an old ass white fucking dude? Why? I'm pissed off at this shit because I'm tired of hearing this stupid shit. So women like, well, I don't want to go 50-50. What the fuck you want to do then? You want to live in an alternate reality? You want to live what? The lifestyles of the rich and the fucking famous? Fuck you, man. You ain't worth that. You ain't worth it precisely because you demanding it. You are not demanding that you go out and get it. You demanding that somebody else provide it for you. For what? Listen to a 50-year-old white man and up come to the pharmacy. So these niggas going to get motherfucking dick hardening pills and stroke medicine and shit, and they telling you what the fuck you supposed to be doing in your fucking goddamn relationships in your life. Now you gonna tell us what old ass white men who baby boomers and shit, what the fuck they say to do in your relationships. Man, that's some stupid shit.
And this white man asked me one day, while I was ringing him up, he had asked me if I was married. And I was like, no. And he said, well, just some advice. You should always marry for money.
I'm stopping here right now. You should marry for money? That's what you should do, right? You should marry for fucking money, right? Let me restart this bullshit, man. Look.
White men, so like 50 and up or whatever. And this white man asked me one day, while I was ringing him up, he had asked me if I was married. And I was like, no. And he said, well, just some advice. You should always marry for money. Said no black man ever. Said no black man ever.
Said no black man ever, huh? Said no black man ever. You think niggas, man, really actually want their daughters, if their daughters do get married, to marry broke ass niggas, man? You think that niggas that daughters get married, that these men, the fathers of girls, want their fucking daughters to marry broke ass niggas? But at the same time, do you think the mothers of sons who really actually give a fuck about their sons want to marry a lazy, loafling, and chiseling ass bitch? And I know my people say you shouldn't use the B word and all of this. Who wants their fucking son to marry a money-grubbing, lazy-ass, high expectation, no service component-ass motherfucking bed wench? Who, man? Who? Would you, if you had a son, lady, bonnet lady, would you want your son to marry a motherfucker speaking like your ass that's looking to, oh, well, he has to be able to do this for me and says no black man ever?
Black women need to take us how we is and what we 50-50.
Take us how we is. Now look at this motherfucker. Now, first of all, no disrespect to the lady, but you ain't exactly a motherfucking looker, lady. Let's just be honest. You ain't exactly what... You're looking like fucking Urkel in a goddamn bonnet. You look like Urkel in a goddamn bonnet, but you demanding that you get the highest type of motherfucking earning dude, the type of dude who can actually fund and pay for a whole household while you sit and you do fucking nothing, but talk about the demands you got? Man, get the fuck up out of here, bro. Shit.
If you want to go 50-50, you should get yourself a roommate.
So if you want a wife, that bitch ain't supposed to do shit, but just sit there and receive, and do nothing, but live a soft girl life, right? She should be able to shop till she drop, vacation till she's vacuous, and goddamn me buy Fendi and Prada and Louis and Gucci and shit on your dime. That's what niggas supposed to do, right? Bullshit.
Yourself a roommate. And black women are going for white men that are respectful.
First of all, they not fucking with y'all, man. White dudes is not fucking with y'all. You don't get it, right? You really just don't understand it. As it pertains to percentages of white dudes just fucking with y'all. They not doing it, bro. They not fucking with y'all. They not marrying y'all. They not wifing y'all. They ain't doing shit, bro. Or sis. They not fucking with y'all, man. And this is not to say that, look, I'm not saying that black men shouldn't fuck with black women at all or none of that. I'm not saying that black women should be off limits and that niggas just gotta go get passports. Although if that's what you want to do, I'm saying more power to you. But I'm just saying this standard where a nigga's supposed to pay for everything and a real man is supposed to pay for everything. Where in the fuck is this shit coming from, bro? Where is it coming from? Because it's not based in reality.
And they don't look like the white women that y'all are choosing at all. Some of them may be hefty, but they got a good job.
So all the black men who are marrying white women or fucking with white women, they only got fat ass white women. They only got obese and reject white women. Come on, man. I'm not going to even go into that video any fucking more. I'm done with that shit. This is the kind of attitude that's pervasive, though. I ain't paying 50. That's beneath me. You're beneath me if I gotta pay or do something. Or if I do pay 50, now I got a goddamn attitude because I'm not able to live a soft girl life. This is bullshit, man. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not based in historical fact. Let's go look at the record. Let's examine it historically. If you want to fucking know. So I started the show off with, all of this bullshit. I started the show off with some bullshit. But let's look at the facts. Let's examine the motherfucking facts. So this article is written by a woman. It's over 8 years old. So this knowledge should be out there already. Women should already know it too. The idea of the angel in the home is an illusion. The Victorian worker class relied on having two wages. Get it? Understand it. The idea of the angel in the home is a fucking illusion. Because the Victorian class women who didn't have to work were members of the bourgeoisie. So now you humble ass black women from fucking normal, regular ass goddamn or below average income families, now you motherfuckers are demanding to live the lifestyle of Victorian fucking bourgeois bitches, white English bitches? Fuck you. And the men who promote this bullshit as well, fuck you niggas too. Fuck you hoe ass niggas. Cause the shit you talking about has no basis in reality what the fuck soever. So let's look at the article. A woman's place used to be at the home. Woman gave up work after marrying, and husbands were the breadwinners. That's what we've long believed. The very idea that a woman would hold down a job while leaving her children in a creche or with a childminder while she was away at work is new and modern. A result maybe of wartime changes or the liberation of women since the 60s, and certainly not the norm of Victorian Britain. Like many things that everybody knows, however, this picture is inaccurate. It's inaccurate. Research I've undertaken shows that women have traditionally worked in a much wider range of occupations than previously thought. Many of them today regarded as men's work. And were frequently the main earner in their household. I'm just tired of hearing stupid, ahistorical shit predicated upon white bourgeois value systems that have no bearing on black or even most white reality. I'm sick of hearing this stupid shit. So all you dating coach fuck niggas and dating coach fuck girls and all you simp-ass Derek Jackson 3.0 niggas, you bitch-ass Quisling fuck niggas need to cut the bullshit out. And all you money-grubbing, gold-digging, lazy loafing and chiseling ass bitches need to go sit the fuck sit down somewhere and get acquainted with the fucking facts. I'm sick of hearing this stupid shit. I'm tired of the dumb shit. Anyway, during the course of, this is a woman writing this fucking article. During the course of my research into Victorian families, I have been told again and again that it was rather strange to be researching married women's work, as married women didn't work. It was interesting to move beyond the academic and the general and to find my own great-grandmother, or formidable woman who was firmly of the opinion in later life that a woman's place was at home, being recorded as the census as a juvenile suit maker, and her mother also working as an umbrella worker or umbrella maker. So her own goddamn grandmama was working. Great-grandmama was working. The research has ramifications beyond the historical and academic and has implications for policy making. It can be suggested that we know to have been the family norm, or what we know to have been the family norm for centuries is little more than an aberration from the norm that has lasted only 2 generations or less than 2 generations. The image of the angel of the house was very much a middle class idea and not a working class reality. This is a middle class, not a working class reality. So how in the fuck do you got a group of men, simp bitch ass niggas, a group of women, money grubbing, hungry ass motherfuckers who claim that they want to live a soft girl life and rest in their femininity? How? Based on what fucking reality? What norms or principles? Based on what historical reality? For most women, the luxury of being a housewife, simply caring for children, cooking and cleaning, and creating a peaceful haven for the hard work husband who brought home the bread at the end of the day was only ever an illusion created by the middle classes. Nowadays, these women don't even want to fucking do this shit. Even if the nigga paying 100%. Even if a nigga paying 100%, they still saying they don't want to get their ass a man a sandwich or some shit. Based upon some bourgeois middle class shit that didn't exist for the vast majority of white motherfuckers either. You fucking dumbass nitwits. I'm sick of hearing this stupid shit. I'm at the point where I'm frustrated, bro. I'm tired of hearing stupid shit. And these women out here actually believing that they deserve more. I deserve to be treated like a bourgeois white bitch. Man, fuck you and fuck them bitches, man. You demand to be treated like some bourgeois white bitch. Fuck them bitches, man. And fuck you too. You have become like an honorary Miss Ann or some shit. Economics dictated that not only both parents, but in most cases, the children as well needed to fucking go to work. I said this shit the other day. I said it, I don't know who the fuck I was talking to, but I know probably BGS was there, some other people was there. I said, hey man, this whole idea about a man going out and bringing home the bacon and having a wife stay at home and that's masculine and all of this shit is a Victorian idea. That they used to put motherfucking kids to work in factories and shit. That women used to work in factories and shit. Now everybody talking about, well, what I deserve is to fucking rest of my femininity and have a soft life while my man goes out to work, and if he doesn't go out to work and do all that, well then I am a man now and I won't fucking respect my husband or anything, and I'm gonna look and find until I can find some man that's gonna provide for me 100%. Basically, you demanding that you become a bourgeois white bitch is what it is. And it's some bullshit. Even if our belief, indeed, even our belief that the decline of the job for life is a modern issue couldn't be further from the truth. For vast numbers of working class men, a job was something you did while it was available and your wages were not in any way reliable. So work is not reliable for European Victorian men. Over the course of 5 years, beginning in 1849, Henry Mayhew, a writer for the Morning Chronicle, laid bare for his readers the reality of working life for the poor in London. He described how something as simple as the wind blowing from the east for a few days would put more than 20,000 dock laborers out of work, along with all others whose livelihood depended on the river. The same situation holding true for all of the other ports around the country. A rainy day in London could deprive close to 200,000 men of an income. This was an age before sick pay, before salary, no work equated to no pay. This was before we considered the seasonal and casual nature of work in Victorian Britain, where the weather, fashion, and the seasons all created a situation where in some months work was available and other hours would be reduced or lost altogether. The understanding has been that this was a problem that affected not only women, but the understanding has been that this was a problem that affected only women, but this isn't the case. Men's work in many towns and cities was perilous, to say the least, and men have been shown in numerous historical sources to move from job to job following a wage. Now this is just England, this is just Europe, okay? I'm not gonna read all this, but I got another article that talks about America. The myth of the stay-at-wife home. This is written in 2020. In today's world of liberated women and hashtag yes all men, the stay-at-home wife seems an outdated and demeaning surrender to the patriarchy. However, history paints a far different picture. The ability to stay at home is a recent novelty, first truly enabled by the economic prosperity of the 1950s. Since then, the housewife has become a role that many women are fortunate enough to be able to choose. This freedom from full-time work allows for more time with their children, a greater focus on the home, and the ability to explore a wide variety of creative endeavors. Now, let's just get it straight. Second wave feminism came around, and what white bourgeois women did, these were bitches who basically were living with freedom of time and freedom of ability to move and do whatever the fuck they wanted to do, but they hated their goddamn husbands who was paying 100% of every goddamn thing. Think about Betty Friedan and what she said about white bourgeois. This is a bitch. This white woman was a privileged ass white woman that went to an Ivy League college and said that being a stay-at-home mom is like living in a comfortable concentration camp. Being a stay-at-home wife is being a motherfucking victim of being in a goddamn concentration camp. So this is why I say the bourgeois bitches in the 50s, in the 60s, they asked to go to work, even when they didn't have to take their asses to work. Now you got black women who always did have to fucking go to work, not saying they want a white man to give them a patriarchal fucking life where they don't have to do shit but go shop till they fucking drop in homemade. Bullshit. That's bullshit. A brief history of the stay-at-home wife. During the Victorian era, many working class women had to work outside of the home in order to help support their families. And I'm dropping a lot of bombs because I'm trying to explain to you and show you all this soft girl life shit is some bullshit for the vast majority of women in the United States. And we ain't even begun to talk about black women yet. We just talking about white fucking women. The average woman went to work in a factory, served the home of a wealthier family, or engaged in home-based work, garment mending. According to censuses from England, over a third of married women were working for outside pay. We're talking about Victorian England. These women also had to tend their own households, so days were long and demanding. This trend continued until the earlier 20th century due to the First World War. With the men all fighting, women had to step into their factory, business, and even farming roles. This surge of women in the workforce did not dwindle following the Treaty of Versailles. Many men returned home wounded and unable to resume their former positions, so women maintained their newfound jobs. The increasing availability of convenience products and appliances, canned food, and the dishwasher made it possible for women to continue working while also keeping up with household chores. This continued through the Second World War. But by the 50s, women's lives began to change. And that's a picture of Rosie the Riveter, okay? And it only happened after the war. So after the Second World War or the First World War, but we talking about the Second World War, that's when you began to see stay-at-home wives and shit like that. Post-war prosperity allowed for the focus of many to shift from work and economic struggles to the family. While married women in communist countries were encouraged to work, women in Western countries began choosing the stay-at-home wife life. In the United States, the 1950s saw record high numbers of couples saying "I do." The stay-at-home wife was upheld as the ideal, prompting most married women to focus solely on their role as homemaker. Cold War propaganda even highlighted the differences between the happy American housewife and the oppressed Russian female factory worker. Western women, relieved of earning an income, gratefully abandoned these jobs and worked instead to make home a haven for their families. And then here's a single income did not become feasible for most until the 1950s. Many cite the 1950s housewife as a symbol of oppression and an argument in favor of today's feminist movement. I already said that. The Good Wife's Guide, published by Housekeeping Monthly in 1955, is regarded by many modern women as a horribly backward list of duties that kept women enslaved to their husbands. But at the time, women happily chose this lifestyle. And let's just put the shoe on the other goddamn foot. And let's just be honest about this shit. If you had a woman and the norm was in society that she was supposed to go to work while your ass stayed at the crib and barbecued, drank brews, watched TV, and looked after the kids and told them to be quiet, go outside and play, which fucking position would your black ass rather be in? Or I gotta go to work all day. Or I'm gonna stay at the crib, barbecue, make a few dishes and some shit, which don't take all goddamn day to do no fucking way. Motherfucker give you the option of not working all your life. All you gotta do is sit and chill and shit and complain and bitch about, well, dear. Some bullshit. At the time, women happily chose the stay-at-home lifestyle rather than being trapped in a workplace. They were able to spend their time fostering harmony in the household. Did they actually foster it, though? It was a joy rather than a burden. The divorce rate during this time drastically decreased, eventually hitting a low of 2.1 for every 1,000 people in 1958. The birth rate also peaked this baby boomer era. Families were a happy unit held together by the complementary married couple. The divorce rate shot back up in the 60s as a new wave of feminism, I'd say Betty fucking Friedan, encouraged women to cast off the stay-at-home wife role, pursue careers, and liberate themselves sexually with the use of contraception. I already talked about Betty Friedan. The house is a comfortable concentration camp for fucking single moms. Now you got women demanding that niggas basically pay all the money like they motherfucking a white bitch from the 50s or something, bro. Like these bitches really want to be motherfucking what is it, Miss Cleaver or something, bro. You believe you Miss Cleaver? This is fucked up to me, man. It's crazy to me. Today's trends show that women want to be stay-at-home wives. How How the fuck do you want to be a stay-at-home wife, but you want to be a boss bitch at the same time? How? You want to show that you can work and I got a degree and I got a PhD and I got all this shit. I'm sick and tired of hearing this stupid fucking shit. I'm tired of it. Anyway, interestingly, this search for fulfillment outside of the home has brought many of today's women back to the 50s. One study showed that of 1,500 women in their 20s and 30s, over 2/3 agreed that the husband should be the main source of fucking income. %70 said they didn't want to work the grueling hours of their mothers or grandmothers. Tough fucking titty. Tough fucking titty. I don't give a fuck if you want to stay at home or not. Most throughout the history of America, Europe, Africa, motherfuckers got to work. You got to bust your ass too. You don't just get to fucking live a white 50s ward and fucking June Cleaver lifestyle. Fuck that shit. I'm done hearing this. I don't want to hear it ever fucking again. I don't want to hear men saying it, and you bitch ass, simp ass niggas. It's a lot of you bitch ass niggas out there bending over and genuflecting, acting like you a real man because I pay all the bills. You a real sucker ass nigga is what you are. I want to stay at home and bake cakes and shit. Fuck all that. I would live a soft life. I'd be a little softer and I'd be a little more feminine if I had a hubby that, allow me to bake cakes and allow me to go shopping at, by Zinfandel. I get to fucking, get my nails and shit. Man, fuck that bullshit. Another study shows that millennial women prefer to stay at home. 50% or 56% of mothers prefer to stay at home. We all know what they fucking prefer, rather than working outside of the home. And 39% of women who don't yet have children would prefer to leave their jobs and become homemakers. There's your Kevin Samuels demand. Do you want to have significant bills and you want to pay bills when you have a kid? No, I want to stay at home and homemade. I want to bake cakes and pies. Says, GG, YouTube wants me to edit my super chat. Is there a connection between the book Poor White Trash that put lower than upper class women back to work to stop them from having more babies? I don't know. I don't know about that one, bro. The ability to stay at home is a modern privilege. The liberation from full-time work allows women to pursue other things, raising children, making a house a home, and personal creative interest and endeavors. Wouldn't it fucking be nice to not have anything to do other than to fuck around all day and to do what fuck what you love to do, instead of what the fuck you have to do? And they demand that you be able to do this shit. Predicated upon some bourgeois shit for rich-ass white motherfuckers. For many generations, women were not afforded this privilege. Even today, many women don't have the luxury of choosing the stay-at-home life. Thankfully, however, this has more and more become a viable option due to our nation's economic prosperity. But for fucking who? It definitely ain't goddamn prosperous for black men. Closing thoughts. Many hold the view that women have been long confined to the house. For much of the world's history, though, and this is why I say, I've been saying this shit. I ain't never had an article to refer to it, but all you gotta do is look at history itself and you'll see. How is it the fuck that you got a whole bunch of white bitches in New England locked up inside of a fucking factory and you've watched, the Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and all this shit, where you got kids working in goddamn factories and motherfuckers talking about they wanna live a soft goddamn life. Fuck that shit. Even if women long to be able to stay home, financial need forced them to find outside work. A single income didn't become feasible for most until the 1950s. So now motherfuckers is living a throwback, idyllic lifestyle when niggas was living in fucking segregation. Niggas was living in segregation. Now you got black women demanding that they be able to live motherfucking soft girl lifestyles like they June fucking Cleaver and shit. I don't give a fuck what you feel about, whether women are in the house and patriarchy. I'm not even making the patriarchy argument. But she says in the end, there also lingers the erroneous belief that the stereotypical housewife is a sad remnant of the oppressive golden age. Stats, however, prove that the reign of the housewife was a period of happiness. No, would you not be fucking happy if you didn't have to go to work and your spouse had to go to fucking work and do every goddamn thing? And you just had to, I just want to manage the money, dearie. I want to buy a sofa. I want some pictures. I just want to nest. I'm going to tell you what they're actually doing. Instead of reading and understanding what the fuck is really going on in the world, I'm going to tell you what the fuck they doing. They watching goddamn reality TV shows like Love and Hip Hop and shit like that. And Cribs and, looking at all these goddamn Instagram hoes and shit. Cut the bullshit out, man. What's going on? How you doing? What's up? I know you about to go ham. Go ahead.
But I'm a homemaker though.
Good for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you're able to live the lifestyle because the vast majority of women are not.
But I think that's a choice, and I don't think it's a choice because they can't financially afford it. I think it's because people want to live above their means.
This is what I say about it, right? It's good that you found a man who's willing to take care of you and that puts you in a position to where you can be a homemaker, okay? But God forbid something happened to your husband. He gets sick. God forbid he gets laid off. God forbid that something goes awry with his business And you're put in a position as a family to have to work it out. And that might require you actually being able to put some sweat equity into the context of the relationship.
Oh well, it's not like I don't get educated and hop in and out of the workforce at will. I keep up with my continuing education and all that good stuff just in case something was to happen. Because being a homemaker don't mean being stupid and sitting on the couch eating buns and watching TV. I actually rear children, which is a full time job, which is something that in the black community we need more of.
Look, what I say is, yeah, we need to rear children, but we need, as far as I'm concerned, we need more black teachers in black schools that are governed by us, run by us, not white women. If we really actually want to care about and see to the education of our own kids. But what we do is we go off and send our kids to the public school system and expect for them to be able to educate our kids when we ourselves aren't educated. If our kids don't see us reading, why are they supposed to learn how to read? All we doing is watching television and in our PDAs or in our laptops or, in our phones or in our tablets. Why the kids reading then? Because they don't see us reading.
Well, my children read because they see me read and I enforce reading. And I also was homeschooling them for the first 4 or 5 years of their schooling. So that's part of homemaking and that's part of rearing children. I would still be homeschooling, but my child he got needs that I don't think I could meet. So I let him go to school. But
he's got needs you can't meet. Like what does that mean? Like, do you care to get specific about it?
Well, he got autism.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I don't know anything about that other than, the little research that I do. So as far as his education goes, I put him somewhere where I felt like, he could get whatever extra help that he needed. But prior to that, I homeschooled both of them.
Okay, not saying that's a bad thing. That's a good thing. Okay. But at the end of the day, all I can tell you is most people don't have the privilege of being able to stay at home. Most people have to go out and work, men and women combined. And I mean, just looking at the historical context out of which this whole idea of the stay-at-home mom evolved, it evolved in America specifically after the Second World War when there was a boom, an economic boom in the country, which led to the baby boom. Okay? Mm-hmm. But in the 60s, you had second wave feminism, which was a demand for women to be able to go out to work because, the household was perceived as an oppressive place where women had to drudge and toil under their man, their husband's thumb. They couldn't move about, which to me is absolutely nonsensical. When you see how women lived, I mean, all you got to do is look at the pictures of women and see. I can show you some pictures right now of some women during that era, well, prior to the 50s, but even during the 50s and 60s. These women, man, weren't hurting. These women look like they was hurting for money, man.
No.
Look at them. They look like they were oppressed. Couldn't, no, they didn't. They were because they were not. But they put the image out there. Oh, I'm so oppressed. Oh, I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. I was under the rule of the thumb of the patriarchy. I'm just tired of hearing that bullshit story. I'm sick of hearing it. Because when you look at it, look. These white women, man, was around at lynchings laughing. They was in the Klan. Black women getting hung from trees. Now black women are like white. They want to be white women. They want to be these motherfuckers. A lot of them. I ain't saying all of them, but I'm saying a lot of them. You got little kids. These women don't look like they oppressed to me. I'm just saying. They don't look like they missing meals. They don't look like they don't have equal social status to white dudes. They look like they living out the same kind of ideals to me. These women don't look like they all fucked up.
No,
They
they
look
don't.
like they got money. They look like they got resources, but many of these white women are working as well. Look at them. They act like they was worse, more oppressed than black folks was. So, you know, I get tired of hearing the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
The historical reality is that most often, especially before the industry, you know, like the Industrial Revolution, and
Right.
the agricultural based work was the kind of work that families had to do in order to survive. The whole concept of, you know, going out to work didn't even exist. Everybody had to do some work around the house or you didn't eat.
I mean,
Somebody got to go.
I feel like I do work. You know?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying, look, but the whole concept of going out and getting a paycheck and then coming and your wife stay at home, that's a relatively recent idea. And I'm just sick and tired of hearing the whole idea. I'm hearing black men say it. I'm hearing black women say it. I'm hearing white women say it. I'm hearing white men say it. I'm tired of hearing motherfuckers say it because it's not based in historical reality. I'm tired of hearing the bullshit. If it's the case that throughout most of history, men and women both had to work because of the economic conditions that existed in whatever countries they lived in, then where did this whole soft life come from? Well, I'm going to stay at home. That's some 1950s June Cleaver shit.
I mean, it was a little bit before 1950, though, King. I mean, you know, because back in the day, you know, chivalry was always it was a thing of like, you know, manners and like saying, you know, because women didn't used to be able to vote. You know, it's history. You know, it's written. You know, women wasn't able to, you know, have a say. They had to basically follow the person who could basically count, or you know, who who could use a calculator and actually, you know, pay, you know, the person, the bread, whoever was bringing in the bread. And that's been since like caveman time. You know, I mean, you know, I can't really say from my own perspective. Well, I can say from my perspective, but I can't say actually factual from, you know, caveman time. But I imagine that.
Bro,
you know,
look, I have to look. I can give you a timeline, right? So I gotta pull it up. So let me pull this up. Okay. I got it pulled up now. Cause see, I like to deal with facts. I don't like to deal with let's think about it, let's imagine it, let's think about what we think it might be. No, we can go look and see what it is. Okay? And when you look and see, well, hold on now. I'm just saying, I like to deal with facts. So I'm gonna present the screen. 1776 is when the country was founded, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Only people who own land in the United States can vote.
Right.
1776. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Most of whom are white guys over the age of 21. Okay? But that's less than, let's keep going. 1787. The Constitution eventually was adopted. No federal voting standard, and the states were the only, you know, governing bodies that determine who could or who couldn't vote. Okay? In 1789, George Washington was elected the president of the United States, and at that time, only 6% of the United States population could vote. We're not talking about 6% just of, you know, women. We talking about only 6, but it was only white dudes that were able to vote. But shit, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It means that over 90% of dudes couldn't vote either. So this idea that since ancient times, like all men had the ability to rule and govern and all women didn't, I'm like, that's historically inaccurate.
Inaccurate.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Have you ever heard of Queen Elizabeth?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of William and Mary?
No, a lot of those.
Bro, William and Mary were partially responsible for sending people over to the United States. You ever heard of Ferdinand and Isabella? These are kings and queens who are ruling, who are governing. One thing that has to be understood. In medieval England, or in Europe, okay? Just let's use Europe, where you had kings and queens and peasants and lords and knights and vassals and shit like that. Do you mean to tell me that you think that a peasant male had more power just because he was a male than a fucking bourgeois noble lady or a fucking queen or a princess?
Facts. It's facts.
It don't even make sense to me to hear people say shit like that. It's absurd. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't any patriarchy then. Yeah, you can say that there was patriarchy, but to say that patriarchy means that all men are governing and ruling over all women, that's bullshit.
Not accurate.
Well, maybe in the patriarch, meaning that men have the say over females.
In what capacity and in what regard? If somebody might have, I think somebody got a mic on, man, with the YouTube.
It's not me.
So. Yeah.
If
you got a YouTube tab, close it, bro.
Okay. Yeah. Is it still hearing?
No, I don't hear it now. Okay. So look, let's just go through the timeline. 1789. Only 6% of the population can vote. 1790, only free white immigrants can become naturalized citizens, but that still don't mean they can vote. 1848, activists for ending slavery and women's rights to join together. So that's when you got like first waves, feminism, the suffragette movement. 1848, citizenship granted, but voting denied. So you can be a citizen of the United States, but voting denied, okay? Citizenship granted, voting denied. That's 1848. So we talking about damn near 80 years in to the country being established before all white men actually have the right to vote. Now, not saying that white women didn't get the right to vote, later than white dudes, but to argue that all women, have been suffering at the hands of the ominous patriarchy. Like, what about the dudes who also didn't have the right to vote? Were they governed and ruled over by the ominous patriarchy as well? And look, another thing that people don't understand is people keep saying women weren't able to own property and shit like that. I've basically demonstrated white women own slaves. They bought and sold slaves over and over again.
But they was
4 times over.
Yeah, but that's still, but you still have they was part of the patriarch because, I mean, once you were married, you entitled to everything that your spouse has.
Bam, but not even that. When usually women outlive men.
Yeah.
They was getting their husbands' estates any goddamn way. When they died. They were governing over their husband's property when the husband was away on business, going to war, or, if they, like I said, if their husband just so happened to expire before them.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is make the case for this whole. So in 1856, then you get all white men can vote. Okay? So when did women get the right to vote?
It was like the 50s, 70s or something.
No. It's a little bit earlier than that, partner. It's a little bit early. Women leave voting rights marches, so it's the 1920s.
20s.
So let me see. Hold on.
Okay.
I want to find out exactly. The right to 1920. The right to vote extended to women. So that's the 19th Amendment. 19th Amendment. Yeah. So the only thing I'm trying to argue, even during this time, what was the average white woman in America doing? In the 20s. She wasn't sitting her ass at the crib.
Well,
her ass was out working too.
That was a transitional time. Like it was some still, housewives, and then it was some who was fighting for.
Only bourgeois ass white women who were part of the upper class could stay at home and didn't have to worry about working, bro.
Yeah, that's real.
And everybody wasn't rich. All white people ain't rich. And black people wasn't rich, Black people been having to work. Black women been had to work.
Yeah, that's so true.
Black women ain't never had no, well, you know, I get to live a soft life. Even, look, I got an article I can show you. Black women, Negro women to be put to work.
Bro, that's a good point.
I can show you an article right there. Negro women, even when women had black women had husbands who was wealthy, they still wanted to make black women go to fucking work. Negro women to be put to work. City ordinance soon to be passed requiring them to be regularly employed. Many complaints. Regardless of whether they want to or have to, able-bodied Negro women in Greenville, North Carolina who are not regularly employed or about to be put to work, put in jail or fined heavily.
Why? What kind of mess is that?
That's racism. That's motherfucker. We make the culture what it is,
That's
and
America.
we want your Negro ass to go to work. So goddamn it, you gonna go to work. And here's the reason why. At this view the full page. Let's view the full page. Hold on. No, actually, let me go back.
That's the laws we stand by. That's the laws that we live under.
So anyway, it says, at its special meeting yesterday afternoon, City Council discussed the situation with regard to this class of loafers at some length. And it seemed that all members of the council were agreed that steps should be taken to compel them to engage in some useful occupation. It was decided that an ordinance similar to the one now in force, requiring all able-bodied men to work at least 5 days a week, should be passed with regard to these women. Such an ordinance will be prepared and voted on at the next regular meeting of council. A number of complaints have come to members of the council of Negro women who are not at work and who refuse employment when it is offered them. The result being that it is exceedingly difficult for families who need cooks and laundresses to get them. So they want your black ass to go to work to help build their household up.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that is terrible.
But the only point I'm trying to utilize as a point that needs to be understood is that for the vast majority of history of the world, not just European countries and the United States, everybody has to work. Men and women have to pour in effort and elbow grease into ensuring that the household is upheld, or else the household doesn't hold up.
True,
But
but some. You can go ahead, Quinn.
It on the thing it says, and in the I sent you the link to this thing by the Brookings Institute, and it said that initially in the early 20th century that only 5% of women were in the workforce, and part of this was due to the lack of education because women weren't allowed to go to school at a certain period of time as well. But that doesn't mean that they weren't doing things like growing food and selling it at a market or something like that. And said it don't start reaching up until 50% until you get to the 50s when education becomes available, and married women most of the time still stayed at home.
That's what I was gonna say. That women would probably argue about, chores, and well, not chores, but duties of home care would be an actual
But
help.
it's
I mean,
not
it
like we
is.
don't work. Like we do things and we participate in making money by the things that we do. We just take care of the home. It's just different now because we don't have to go out here and hunt and
But
gather
now,
our food.
what he's saying though, is that it's still an option. He's saying that back then it was a way of life. It was a way of life for.
I want you to think about this. I want you to reflect on this. Just use your common sense, man. If most of the work in the United States prior to, the development of major cities and the expansion of the West, right? I mean, from sea to shine, manifest destiny from sea to sign to sea. Most of the work in the United States was of an agricultural kind anyway, right?
Yeah, they should have an editor for it. But I think
Yeah, I can hear people in the background talking. I don't know who. Yeah, but like just turn your mic down when you ain't talking. But so most of the work is of an agricultural kind. You have no dishwashers. There's no washing machines. It ain't no dryers. It ain't, like if you want to wash your clothes, you got to get a washing board to wash them motherfuckers.
Right.
So you might say it's homework, but it's like everybody has to pitch in. The husband, if y'all doing agricultural work, the work is not away from the home. The work is where you at, where you live. If you black people, after slavery, black people in the South was primarily sharecroppers, right or wrong.
Yeah.
So if you doing sharecropping work, you're not going off. You're not getting in a. Black people getting in a Model T.
Staying at home.
You working on the farm or around. You picking cotton where you live. Women and men, and y'all doing whatever is requisite or necessary in order to keep the household afloat.
Yeah.
Now you don't start to see a difference in the way that black people are living until they migrate into the cities. But you don't even see urban development the way that it is until the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. You don't start to see the rise of suburbs and city living until, like after the Great Depression. I mean, I'm not saying you didn't have big cities in certain places, but like the urban development that you see now, it didn't exist.
I mean, but
we act like everything that is now always was. That's just not the case.
I mean, in a way, like you okay. It depends on like what you saying wasn't already here, because I mean, you saying that suburbs wasn't here, meaning like cul-de-sacs of nice white people. Well, what I'm saying, nice people living in nice places. But I mean, they still had like plantations and stuff. Those was kind of like neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like those were kind of still nice places, and then you still had people who didn't have nothing, who had to
live. Black people lived on plantations with white people, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
so we stayed in the same. We had different quarters on the plantation.
Yeah, they probably had like a shed or something, or you know what I'm saying. They probably have some little raggedy. You know what I'm saying. It ain't like no banging own house of they. Well, some house people who probably did. It probably was some house black people, but for the most part, they won't live in the same. Like that's what you saying though. You saying that they won't live in the same lives. As in some wives could stay at home. And some wives had to actually work. They ain't had that choice. And that was just regular living.
Bro, like most white people in America ain't rich, bro. I mean, it might seem like it is to us, but like, you ever heard of white people from Appalachia, man?
Yeah, homestead and all that.
Like, I'm just saying, like, these white people, man, wasn't all rich during all times, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, some white people, man, live some pretty hard lives just like Negroes did. In shanty towns and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, white people wasn't always wealthy like that, bro. Like a lot of people, man, assume, but it's just not the case. And these white people went to work too, bro.
Not like African Americans, though.
Well, I mean, some of them did the same kind of work. It all depends on where you're talking about. History is nuanced. So we have this idea that everything was the same. Yeah, like the conditions, like everything like white folks had was just great and rosy, and everything black people had was just fucked up and decadent. Not necessarily the case, okay? Like in general, you could say that's the case, but it wasn't always the case because there's nuance. But all I'm trying to articulate, like, to hell with what Brookins is talking about, man. Look, I'm just looking at reality. Like the women who worked in New England. You ever heard about them women who worked in the factory systems in New England?
Yeah.
If they weren't working, how did they get trapped in offices?
And
get burned to a crisp?
But when they're like the 1890s or like the 1900s, like the early 1900s or something.
Bro, that's what we talking about. We talking about history being bigger than just the 1950s and June and Ward Cleaver. We're talking about the history of work in the United States and how typically it's perceived that, okay, well, women weren't in the workforce. Well, what do you mean they weren't in the workforce? The telephone operators were primarily women, weren't they?
Yeah.
Or was that not a job? Even during the time of June and Ward Cleaver, right?
Well,
Yeah.
that's the 50s, and by that time, you got the numbers shooting up where it's a 50% for non-married women and 20% of married women.
But what did women do before then? They just stayed at home and lived a soft girl life?
No, they was farming and selling that stuff at the market. That's what I'm saying.
And men were
Homemakers,
doing the same thing as the women, right?
yeah, but they was doing it outside of the house because they could make more money than they could in the house.
Doing what in the house and outside? So women wasn't picking cotton, women wasn't plowing fields, women wasn't out there, baling hay.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I
But
can show you pictures where they was doing it.
okay.
Like women were working on farms.
Yeah, but I thought we
They
was
weren't
trying
just
to.
like why are you so dead set on believing that women weren't out there working, like they were just in the house doing housework?
No,
Why do you continue to be entrenched in this ideal that women never ever left the house?
No,
No, I'm not saying that they never left the house. I do think that most families tried
I
to
didn't say that.
create family businesses or else where they could, especially when you only got 20% of the 5% of the population, according to the Bookings Institute, of females working, and part of that is due to education. So it says that as education opportunities became more available, that more women also entered the workforce because of that, and that's coming behind the feminist movement as well. You know, if you
All
sharecropping,
throughout, if you look all throughout the world, women are working.
yeah,
I
but
mean, it
that
don't
might
matter
be
what
their
part of
fault.
it don't matter what part of the world you in, where they at. They out there in the fields working. They ain't in the goddamn house. They're outside fucking working. They
Right,
baling
but that
hay. They
might be
picking.
they
They
feel
huh?
they might be, loaning the field out so they can work, but they still at home. And that's what I'm saying. Just because you at home don't mean that you're not bringing in some type of income.
At the end of the day, all I'm trying to demonstrate. Look, I even went. I've gone over this. I've done this already.
Hmm.
I even talked about England. America's not the only place where women work. And people haven't done a lot of research on this. This Brookings Institute shit, that's only one source. I got more than one source demonstrating that, like, it's women working in Europe outside of the fucking house. They ain't just staying at the crib homemaking, washing clothes, making bread, and making pies and cakes. They out there working, man, just like dudes is out there working.
I mean,
And children were working.
not everybody.
Little girls were working, man, in England. You ever seen Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol?
Yeah, I saw that.
You see Tiny Tim. Kids used to have to work.
But like you said, though, regardless of where you from, though, that's still not everybody. Regardless of where you at.
Bro, we talking
Yeah,
about
one
the
thing
vast
peasants.
majority of people, bro. Everybody didn't have to work. White men that own plantations didn't have to fucking work. But the
Yeah.
vast majority of people in the world, male or female, have to fucking work. The idea of a one income house is a relatively recent idea, is what I'm trying to tell y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all don't believe it. I mean, you believe that there was like jobs that people went to, like McDonald's and shit, in the 30s and the 20s, man? And
No,
they got
I
a
think
paycheck
people
and they
had
got
their
Social
little plot of
Security and they
land
had
and
health
they
insurance and shit.
no, I
No,
think people capitalized off their skill and whatever they could grow on their land. If they wasn't employed by somebody else that had bigger money.
resources and trades.
So black people for the most part, they went from being slaves to sharecroppers.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, or whatever, you had successive waves of migration out, especially when they got freed from slavery. You had the first migration and you had the second great migration. But for the most part, during the 40s and the 50s, a lot of black people left the South from sharecropping in order to find industrial work in the West, the Midwest, and in the North. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
These are the facts. Okay? Now, there you see a time in which it's supposedly moving to this era of like, okay, well, there's a division of labor and of work. But prior to that, ain't no division of labor and work for black folks for real. And the vast majority of people went to work. Even women, like say for example, and I showed you here, I'll show you again, man.
A lot of third-person shooters.
I'll show you again.
They tend to have bad aiming, or they have like this particular.
Oh my bad.
I don't like at the end of the day, man. All I'm trying to say is this idea of women staying at the crib and not having to work is some bullshit.
Right.
Even if it's agricultural work, everybody's damn near at the crib working.
So are you saying that's a bad thing or a good thing?
I'm just saying working is not. I'm saying it's bullshit to tell men that they got to pay 100% of the bills in order to be a fucking man when throughout the vast majority of the history of the planet, both men and women had to fucking work to survive.
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
the whole concept of living a soft girl life so you can live in luxury and homemake and buy beautiful little trinkets and nest around the house and homemake and do arts and crafts and shit and have a flower garden in the front yard and the backyard and all. That's some fucking white bullshit.
It all goes back on what you were saying about it's all inaccurate. It's all bullshit because of the fact that it's set up to where we live in we in a system where it projects to that we are supposed to work. But first of all, it was built off of people who work for free. Then on top of that, it puts on the mask that men is superior. But I mean, it's all been like you said, it's all inaccurate in doctrine where they push it along, and now because women they just now getting rights, now they just now learning about what paper is and being able to sign. They have their own freaking name to even sign. Now they actually having a word. Now it's become a thing where it's like, they pushing paper, green, get this money. When they don't know that that's the same thing that they was denied in the beginning. They was denied this in the beginning. Like the dude was the only one who could run it. Like y'all ain't even had no say, but now y'all pushing it. And this, like you just not catching up. You still overlapped.
Women had no say. Like what do you mean they had no say? Like this is the shit that fucks me up. Like you guys believe anything you're told. Like what were they not able to do? They weren't able to own property. You mean?
Yeah, Queen said, yeah. I mean, yeah, even in history.
When were they not able to own property? In what state were they not able to own property? I mean, because if we have evidence of women actually own property, then what you're saying doesn't even make any goddamn sense.
No. I get what you're saying. You saying that it was women who had access to it, but that's just life. That's just how the world gonna run. Women have their power, just like men have their power. But in an economical position, men have had they foot.
Which men? Women. You talking about what kind of men? Like, are you talking about Hispanic men? You talking about like black men? Are you talking about white men? Which you got to be specific, bro? Because it doesn't make any sense for me to hear you say, men in general and women in general. Because I can guarantee you that white women in the United States had more ability to. First of all, white women had the ability to vote with the 19th Amendment. That was 1920, right?
Okay, yeah.
When did black men get the right to vote, dog, without being terrorized by the Klan?
You say, yeah, you're right. I mean, I still don't think I still.
When did black men get the right to vote, dog? When did the Voting Rights Act get passed, bro?
Was it when Lincoln freed the slaves?
About the Voting Rights Act, not the Emancipation Proclamation, but black men did have a brief period where they were supposed to be granted the right to vote. That was the first Civil Rights Act. Mm-hmm. But after Reconstruction was over with, which happened when the Great Reconciliation between the North and the South occurred, what happened? Jim Crow.
Oh yeah. True.
So did black people have the right to vote during Jim Crow?
True. It's so much.
Bro, they did not have the right to vote, man, in Jim Crow. You didn't have the Voting Rights Act until 1965, bro.
But yeah, that's real, bro. Yeah, I was unaware. I didn't know that.
And for people who don't know, this is Red Pill Chat, but a lot of y'all guys, all you want to do is talk about women and shit. But you want to talk about it outside of the context of history, which is some bullshit to me. It's like I just don't get it. It's like you can talk about what you got an idea about, but if you don't read, how can you understand what was going on?
I mean, I've read. I mean, I might not know every date and every fact, but I'm definitely up to par.
But we talking about basic facts about men and women. And then you can't talk about all men in the same light. All men don't have the same power. All men are not from the same class. All men don't have the same position and the same wealth. Not even all white men.
I mean, yeah, it's levels. You're right. It's levels.
So it just seems ridiculous to me to continuously just pontificate about how all white dudes are like wealthy when they not. It's you can plainly see it's not the case. Like when the country was first founded, a lot of white guys or European immigrants came over here and they were called what? Indentured work. What?
Indentured servants or slaves or something.
Did they have rights? Did an indentured servant have rights? Or was he under an obligation, a contract that he had to fulfill the terms of, or else, he could be either sent to prison or, he could be forfeited the entire right to what he has in his contract. Oftentimes they got treated worse than slaves.
Worse than slaves? I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Worse than slaves? Slaves was intentionally tortured and experimented and taken advantage of, like personally, like intentionally. They like intentionally separated from their families and all that, and intentionally kept out of their family. Intentionally, not because
I'm not saying that indentured servitude was slavery, okay? But their life wasn't easy. I mean, some of them, like put it this way, we already know that you had to serve 7 years in an indentured servant before you even got your reward, your freedom. If I can make sure you dead before the 7 years over with, I ain't got to pay you shit.
Yeah, that's deep.
Why would I allow you to meet the terms of your indenture? I could just work you like I can work a slave on a plantation, a sugarcane plantation. I can work you so hard to the point where you ain't gonna be able to meet the terms and the condition. I'm not saying were they subjected to violence? Yes. Occasionally even resulting in their death? Yes. So all I'm saying is, like the idea that all white men were equal, that's just some bullshit. It's just not true.
Well, you saying all white men are not equally to this white supremacy?
Bro, I'm just saying that all white men are not in the same class. All white men don't have the same education. All white men don't have the same kind of political power. Some white men are uber powerful. Some white men are just some broke ass white dudes. I mean, you got white homeless motherfuckers, don't you?
Yeah.
You think they got the same amount of power as, say, for example, Donald Trump or some shit?
But I mean that's yeah, you're right. But that just goes into the play of they're still under a tyrannical driven government because even how lifestyle and
but
wages.
At this point, man, we moving too far from the point. My whole point has been from when I started this to where I am now. Look, at the end of the day, throughout most history, everybody had to work. And this, this whole idea that like women, they weren't part of the workforce and all this shit. Like what era? Like when?
But you saying what time did they have a soft life?
Come on, man. Most women in the world never have had a soft life.
I mean, if you a housewife, then that's technically is a soft life.
Bro, are you listening to what I'm saying, man? Do you get what it is that I'm saying, bro?
But you said they never had a soft life, though. I'm pretty. If you sitting at
Did
home
most
watching TV,
most white women in the United States were now housewives?
you said, I
Throughout the history of the
mean,
United States, most white women were not housewives, bro. Like if you are working on a farm, how can you be considered to be a fucking housewife? Everybody's working around the house.
not everybody. Like you said, Queen Elizabeth probably won't doing that.
But I'm just saying, like, if there is no major industry and you live in a rural area, and the only way you make your money is through agriculture, and you right there, and the agricultural work is right there extended at your doorstep, what's this whole concept of a soft girl life?
I think it's just the. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a trend. I mean, I guess it's the trend that's going around.
I'm just basically trying to use the Socratic method for you to understand this whole soft girl bullshit is some bullshit.
I mean, I wouldn't
And
go
the
call
demand,
it bullshit. It's
to
not
demand
bullshit.
that to demand that your ass, now you might be down for it. You can be a sucker if you want to. But if you believe that you're supposed to pay all the fucking bills and everybody's supposed to stay at home and just, work and bake cakes and work on arts and crafts and shit, that's some bullshit, man.
Bro, bro, to say that a woman doesn't deserve to relax, I can't say that they don't deserve that.
Deserve to relax. Like, relax doing what?
Whatever they will come to their mind, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they choose.
So they supposed to just live a life of leisure at your dime, nigga?
Not
You supposed
in,
to pay for it while they lay back?
I mean,
Because if that's what you on some sucker shit. You supposed to pay all the bills and they supposed to lay back and get their fingernails and their hair done, nigga?
I mean, yeah. I mean, bro, it shouldn't come at the leisure. It shouldn't come at the leisure of another person. Facts. But I still think,
Man, whatever you get in work, whatever you get in life, you got to work for it, man. Whether you male or female. There ain't no motherfucking goddamn I'm gonna receive without giving anything. The whole notion that you're supposed to sit back and just fund leisure for any goddamn group of people is some bullshit to me.
yeah, but no, but I mean, it is that. But it's that's the reason why it is a good topic, bro, because you right on the head. But it's so on the head that if
Bro,
we told,
I gotta ask the question. How did you come across this stream, bro? Like where? Like is this just a random? Like you randomly came by the stream?
I mean, no, I check it out sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just.
So you know about
the
manosphere and manosphere content.
Yeah.
So I mean, so right now you just basically trolling in manosphere content then?
No, I'm trying to get on with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see what it's about.
So here, this is what I'm saying, bro. At the end of the day, you got a demand right now for women saying that they want a man who basically paying all the damn bills. And that's what men do, is pay all the fucking bills. I'm trying to make an argument or a case that in most of the world, women have always had to work. And that only a small section of women who are wealthy and were members of elite or bourgeois classes were able to not have to work.
Right.
That the vast majority of people had to go out there and get it. Women and men. And prior to the labor movement, even little kids had to take their ass out there and go to work.
I mean, but that's not everywhere though. That's not everywhere.
What you mean, bro? Everywhere what, bro?
That's not
what are
everywhere.
You talking about? What are you talking about?
People don't have to work everywhere, especially children.
Bro. You saying before child labor laws came into place, man, motherfucking kids wasn't working, bro?
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. Kids was able to be kids before child labor laws came into place. Like people wasn't forced to have to get outside and do, labor until laws.
Bro, look, bro, I can't do it anymore, bro. I'll holler at you later, dude.
All right, King.
I'll holler at you. Peace. All I'm trying to say is, bro, man, I'm confused, bro. Zulu.
What's up?
Yeah.
How you doing, sir? What's up? How you doing, sir?
What's
Yeah,
happening?
that's what happens when the modern school system. That's the kind of men we cranking out, or the individuals we cranking out right there doing that. So it's not looking too bright. It's not looking too bright.
But all I'm saying is, like, here's the thing, man. Like, most black boys can't read at a functional level. So how are we gonna learn information? How, like, I'm lucky to have gone to an elite high school, an elite college, and an elite graduate school. I'm lucky that I've read a cross section of history, from different eras, different periods in history. Okay, I've read ancient, medieval, modern, and contemporary literature. Okay, I've read Greek tragedies and comedies. I've read medieval literature, philosophy and shit. You know what I'm saying? I've read contemporary sociology and history. I'm lucky. But I mean, for crying out loud, bro, like I just showed the document. And it's an old document, but it's demonstrating the look. If you do research into Victorian families, you'll find out the assumption is that married women didn't work. Okay,
no, that's
but then
false.
even this woman looking into her own family history found out that her great grandmother was a suit maker when she was a little girl, and that her mother was an umbrella maker.
I mean, you can actually see the signs even in today's modern TV show. I mean, you listen to any, let's see, what is it? Modern like Viking show. What are the women doing? They're fetching some water. They're out there making the nets. They're out there splitting wood. They're doing something. They're working on a farm. Like women have always worked throughout necessarily time. I'm guessing because why wouldn't they? I mean, I think most of human civilization has been I think it was agrarian civilization for I don't know.
That's the first thing I said. I was like, before you even begin to have a conversation about industry, and having a 9-to-5 job and shit like that, we don't even know the history of labor in the United States. This how I'm not saying that people are dumb; they're just ignorant.
They are dumb. No, they are dumb. No, they're ignorant. They're ignorant.
I feel your pain, GG.
They're ignorant. There's a difference. That's the ignorance.
It's ignorance. And look, I understand the woman came up with the Brookings Institute and it's like, well, only 5% of women were in the workforce. That's how do you even get to the point where you got like women working in diners and shit like that? Like you got women working telephone operators, women are seamstresses, women are like working, they're acting and doing shit in Hollywood. I mean, we see evidence of women working everywhere, all around us. But now we supposed to believe that most of the women were at home?
At no point in history.
Like this shit don't even make sense when you think about it.
At no point in history have the majority of women ever been stay-at-home moms as we try to define them today. It's never happened. It's never happened.
Bro, so look, again, let me look at this article one more time. Okay? For most women, the luxury of being a housewife, simply caring for children, cooking and cleaning, and creating a peaceful haven for the hard-worked husband who brought home the bread at the end of the day, was only ever an illusion created by the middle classes. Now, first of all, you have to begin to think, when did wage earning actually begin? Like, I mean, in terms of like a contemporary job, like a system of work and job, paychecks and shit like that. We talk about within 150 years, really, for real. Like we ain't even talking about a long period in history.
I thought it would have been like actually as far as any feudal system or any collective body, I thought the system would went that back that far. Like you got to pay your soldiers or you got
I'm
to pay
I'm
your clergy.
can I hop in real quick?
But I
I'm
mean,
trying to be rude.
I'm not saying that there was no record of how much a person is supposed to be remunerated and paid. But I mean, if most of your work is agricultural, you know what I'm saying? Like, if most of the work is agricultural, you're not really getting paid by the hour.
Yeah, you get paid by what you produce.
That's
I mean,
what I
I'm just saying, like, if most of what you are being paid is you're getting paid by, what you produce. And the yields you have, right? It ain't like motherfuckers are sitting there watching, determining how much you're getting paid, hour per hour. Like you got a supervisor on your plantation or your farm.
Yeah, like I don't know my plantation manager ain't the peaches ain't growing.
That's my shift manager and shit, like right there.
Yeah. I got you.
But I mean, like, and then it goes on to say, look, economics dictated that not only both parents, but in most cases the children as well needed to work. Even our belief that the decline of the job for life is a modern issue couldn't be further from the truth. For vast numbers of working class men, a job was something that you did while it was available, and your wages were not in any way reliable, meaning that the work was piecemeal work. I mean, we act like there was like a fucking Walmart back then and shit, and the motherfucker had guaranteed work if he came in every day and shit.
I wanted to hop
like,
in.
I mean, like, this is absurd to think that, like, this is the way the world works or always has worked.
I wanted to reinforce what you were saying about the whole point about sharecropping or just other things. Most people historically have been dependent upon the land, and most people have had to go into war. So whether you study Rome, most people understand Rome. A lot of people don't understand African history. But if the men leave, who's watching the crops? And if the crops fail, who dies? That's what people don't understand. Bringing it home, bringing it closer to what we're talking about, using E. Franklin Fraser as an example, because this space we like stats, people, sociology. E. Franklin Fraser even talks about this. Black women have always worked. Black men has always worked. We have always contributed, because if you can't contribute in a way that's socially acceptable, you find a way that's socially unacceptable. Example, drug dealing. That's not a socially acceptable way of contributing to the family, but that's still a way that Black people have contributed. Wrapping it up, so I don't sound too long-winded. This conversation has really hit me in a certain way because I'm in tech. And so tech is a field that's like, money is different. Money doesn't always make sense to everybody. You might have somebody who's making $250,000, one person, and then you will hear that person's wife, who's a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, they're still making money. So when I started getting in these spaces, I'm in tech, so just, transparency. Once I saw that, I was just like, there's no reason for my wife to be home. There's no reason for us to play this game. And only when I saw the upper class still grabbing what they could is when I started finding texts that validated what they were doing.
Yeah, bro. The only thing I can say is, bro, I'm just tired of hearing the whole concept of, like a man's supposed to do all the goddamn work. I'm tired of hearing that bullshit. So that a woman, and these women ain't saying this because they want to do work in the home. They don't even want to do shit in the house.
No, to your point,
they want to retire. They want to retire.
They want to retire.
I'm not even just speaking about Black people, because I'm Black and I'm trans. You can see my icon. I'm Black. What I saw other people is, what happens is there's a premium put on manhood. If a woman can act as a man, there's a premium put on it. And once again, I'm talking about high six-figure people here. I'm not talking about low six figures.
Yeah, but why are we talking about high six-figure people?
Because I make high six figures.
Yeah, but that's a small percentage of people.
I can only bring the perspective that I'm bringing. I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking nobody else. I'm just saying, if it's not happening at the top, why is it happening at the bottom?
What I'm saying is, we have these conversations a lot, and somebody always wants to go to that far end extreme. Let's stick to the middle.
I'm there.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're not cognitive of the rest of the people in the population of the country.
I disagree with what you're saying, because you're not letting me speak. I'm saying, if it doesn't work at the top, why should it work at the bottom? I listen to G with a PhD all the time, so I'm not out here trying to tell something crazy. Like all of this. What I'm saying is, Black people have this idealized fantasy. As a Black person who grew up on the Kool-Aid, G with a PhD right now is preaching to me. He's telling me things that I need to hear. So what I'm saying is, I used to have this ideology. My wife doesn't have to work. We don't have to do this. I make all the money. Ma'am, you need to go downstairs. There's nothing wrong with you. I am on the phone and you know better. As you see, I'm raising kids. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is, let me hop off so I can do it with my kids. Point is, it doesn't happen at the top. We are over here trying to over idealize and man our way through something as black men do, and that's not where it's at, because that's not what the other classes, other races of people are doing. For some reason, only black people that I see, being very transparent, that's not a statistic and that's not a stat, but we try to overman ourselves through everything else. Nobody else is doing it. The Arabs that I work with, the Asians that I work with, they work with their wife. Their wife goes to work. They all bring the money home and they buy properties. The man pays all the bills and his wife is buying rental properties. 10 years back to back. That's all she does every year. Her money goes straight to buying a new rental property. We don't talk like that. We don't act like that, because our women, which I only date black women, I'm married to a black woman, thinks that they have to work at home. They don't have to contribute. So G with a PhD is hitting something so hard that's affecting me, and I'm at a different tax bracket. So thank you. Thank you, G.
Show, man. And look, at the end of the day, even in the Bible, bro, it says a noble, Proverbs 31, verse 10. Not to say that I'm trying to be hyper religious, but this is an ancient text. A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. Now, this is a fucking noble woman who could live a life of leisure, right? Because she's talking to King Lemuel. It's not for kings to drink wine, nor for rulers to crave beer, unless they forget, and they drink and forget the laws, the decrees, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Give beer to those who are perishing and to those who are in anguish. So, if you're a king and you're handling like royal affairs, you shouldn't be drunk, because it's going to cloud your judgment. Give drink to the people who are suffering, okay? And who have anxiety and anguish, who have a worse lot than you do. Speak up for people who can't speak for themselves and for the people who are poor, right? Be fair and defend the poor and needy. Then, this is a woman talking to her son, saying, a wife of noble character who can find? She's worth more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. Now, this is a woman telling her king, a son king, what he should be looking out for in a woman, okay? She selects wool and flax and works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it's dark. That's a noble woman. She provides food for her family and portions to her servants. She considers a field and buys it. Meaning she speculates on how to capitalize, right? Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. This ain't like, find you a soft-ass wife who likes to buy a lot of bullshit, who lives a life of leisure and shit. That's not what King Lemuel is being told. Basically, she sees that her trading is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She holds in her hand the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it stows, she has no fear of her household because all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes, not buys, makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes a seat among the elders of the land. She makes, not buys, she makes linen garments and sells them. She doesn't buy them, she makes and sells them.
I mean, I agree with you, man. Again, I think we get off on these conversations because we bounce around in history too much, and we bounce around with exceptions to the rule. Most black men are making around $41,000 a year. Most black women are making $35,000. That's the vast majority. Let's stay right there. We don't have to go to these exceptions. There has never been a case ever in the history of this country when the majority of women have got to sit at home and be stay-at-home moms. It's never happened because nobody can tell you the decade.
Well, I mean, ultimately, again, I showed the article. The article is, the myth of the stay-at-home wife. Okay.
Exactly.
And it basically is like, okay, look, you started to see all of it, and this is a female magazine. It ain't a male magazine. This is a female-based magazine where this article is written, and the women are doing research. Sorry about that. I need to cut that effect off. Let me make sure that's off. Okay, so let me go to this thing, man, and show it one more time. Because it just aggravates the shit out of me, man. I'm trying to make a point, and then, like, people are unable to see the point.
Because they don't know history. They have no concept of it.
So let me get rid of this. Let me stop this right here. Let me make this bigger for myself, okay? So
yeah, bring it out.
The ability to stay. This is Evie. So like if I were to redo this, like if I were to. So the print edition is. I'm just trying to show you what the magazine. It's a female magazine. Yeah. This is the magazine. Okay. Mm-hmm. $39. I guess. That's a lot for that print edition. Damn, that's a lot, boy. Anyway, written by Molly Fahrenholt. Okay. She's a, your little young white girl, whatever the case may be. She's a mother, writer, athlete, and all that kind of shit. So anyway, she's like, okay, look. The ability to stay at home is a recent novelty, first truly enabled by the economic prosperities of the 50s. Okay. Since then, the housewife has become a role that many women are fortunate enough to be able to choose. This freedom from full-time work allows more time with children, greater focus on the home, and the ability to explore a wide variety of creative endeavors. Then it says a brief history of the stay-at-home wife. During the Victorian era, many working-class women had to work outside of the home in order to help support their families. This is outside of the home. Right. Not in the home, but outside of the home. The average woman went to work in a factory. That's why I say, you see all these women in these factories and shit? Yeah. Like, everybody's saying women didn't work. I'm like, well, what the fuck about all these goddamn pictures with these women in factories and shit?
They had to work because they were going to war.
Huh?
The men was at war. They had to work.
Not just during war. I mean, women were
No,
working.
I'm saying during this particular picture that you're showing us right here, the women went into the factories because the men were overseas at this particular point in time.
That's an assumption.
No, that's fact. That's historical fact.
So women only worked in factories, only worked in garment factories when there was a war. They never, when there wasn't a war. No.
I'm saying at this particular picture that you're showing right now, those women were working because their husbands weren't available to work. In that one picture. That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying in that one picture.
Okay. So, but ultimately, like I can show you some more pictures, but like so like. But like child labor, and before labor laws, I can show you kids working. Child labor.
Yeah, the kids were working in factories.
But let me see images. These little motherfucking kids was working,
and they were dying. Yeah,
oh yeah, like that. Little kids was working. I mean, the idea that like everybody was, kids got to live soft lives too, and they only were able to go to school. That's some bullshit.
That's all new.
And guess what? And many of them working with little girls. So, this whole notion that like women just got to live soft lives in Western culture and shit like that.
It never happened.
Why are these white fucking little girls getting ready to go to work? And they wasn't going to work for 8 hours, bruh.
No, they were working 12 and then we were forced to work.
Exactly.
Carnegie and Vanderbilt, they were forcing the people to work.
Exactly. So I mean, like I'm not trying. All I'm trying to say is the whole notion. And according to censuses from England, and this is England during the Victorian era, right? Over a third of married women were working for outside pay, not 5%. Now, I mean, we can talk about America and how it might have been different, but like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like doing, the segue between the end of agriculture as the main, focus on the economy in America? Or are we talking about like the transition to the 50s, right? Where it became more industrial based? Like, what are we talking about?
Trick. That's the trick, because people, and that's what I was saying earlier, people bounce around and you got to narrow it down. What time period are we talking about? Because they were all over the place with their comments earlier. I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
So anyway, like it says, this trend continued into the early 20th century. Due to the First World War, with men all fighting, women had to step their factory. This is what you was kind of talking about.
Right, that's what I was.
Even
that's what I was
they had to
about,
step into their factory, business, and even farming roles. The surge of women in the workforce did not dwindle following the Treaty of Versailles, which was, the treaty that ended the Second World War. I mean, the First World War. But because men came home and they were wounded, they were fucking, paraplegics and was suffering from PTSD and all kind of shit, right? So women maintain the jobs that they had, and they had to work to sustain the family. Like a lot of times people think that Social Security and shit always existed. This shit didn't even exist.
No, that's new.
Yeah, until after the Great Depression and the New Deal. You know
what
I'm
that's
saying?
FDR.
So anyway, increasing availability of convenience products and appliances like canned food and the dishwasher made it possible for women to continue working while also keeping up with household chores. And this continued during the Second World War, through the Second World War. But by the 50s, women's lives began to change. So, and ultimately, what this woman is saying is that women held jobs. It wasn't like it was just a soft life. They was just chilling.
Nope.
They was working.
Never happened.
Right.
But anyway,
GG. Man. Brother, man, appreciate your work, brother, putting this history out here. Man, get your likes up, get the shares in, man, donate, bro, because we need this history for the foundation of what's happening around you. You got to have historical context, and it shouldn't matter where you jump around at if you know what you're reading and what you're looking at. Now, one thing I wanted to point out was that the little girls that burned up in that building, man, in the turn of the century, that's what gave us our fire codes. When all them little white girls burned up in the textile plant, I think it was in New York. That's one of the turning points. It was where at?
New England.
It was in New York. I thought Chicago. But they were working. These kids were working. Gigi's absolutely right. They had to work. They went into the factories. Yep. That changed the fire codes, man. People don't know history, man. It's sad.
I'm sorry, man. I muted the mic when I was typing on my keyboard so it wouldn't make a whole bunch of background noise. But look, all I can say is, man, look, I'm in a labor union my damn self. I'm an iron worker, okay? And I had to learn the history, of the labor movement. You know what I'm saying? And I know what it took in order to, move to the point where we have like unions and shit like this, and 9 to 5 or 8 hour work days and 2 breaks, and like paid vacation time, sick pay and shit. I knew what had to happen, because I had to take them courses and shit to become a member of that union. You know what I'm saying? And it took maybe a year or so before I actually was, well, actually it's 5 years because you got to do a 5-year apprenticeship. But that portion of the course though was like maybe 6 or 7 months. You know what I'm saying? We got a big ass book we had to study and test the shit we had to take on the labor movement. So I'm like, how is it that all of these women have jobs, but then everybody's saying only so many women are in the workforce? And when you hear women make these arguments, it's almost always feminists arguing that they are left out because they're not able to work outside of the home. And I'm like, where are they getting that information from? Like, where are they getting that information from? Like, I just don't get it. I've never known, I'm 50 years old, okay? My grandmother had a fucking job.
No doubt.
On both sides
I'm
of the
right behind
family,
you.
bro.
I'm 46. I'm right behind you. I'm 46.
How many of y'all got grandmothers that didn't work, bro?
Please, I don't know nobody.
I don't.
Big Kev said the Chicago shirtwaist fired in 1911. That's what he said. Big Kev said that.
I'll say this though. You have a lot of the women in the silent generation that told their daughters and then granddaughters something totally different. which I don't know why. I kind of know why, but I don't know why because some of them were working as maids, and then you had. I'm just telling you the story on my mom's side of the family. My grandma worked, but she didn't work as much in maids and stuff. But she would tell, "Oh, I didn't have to do anything. He did all the work." And I'm like, it's so confusing because I would say this in general: women are never happy, and I always say this: they're never happy. They're always entitled because you always have simp husbands. I always say simp husbands that work 4 jobs so you can make her happy, so she can go shopping to feel like a man. And my grandfather that passed away, he didn't feel like a man. He was just fronting. I'm like,
Yeah, my whole thing is what I don't like is, first of all, what I don't like is people to connect going to a 9-to-5 job as masculinity.
yeah,
That in and of itself is some garbage. That's some bullshit, man. To say that, going to school so you can learn how to endure boredom and take orders from a business class, a managerial class, is masculinity. That's what the fuck masculinity is. That's what you reduce masculinity to. Being able to go to a college and to work as a white collar worker. That's what masculinity is. That's some bullshit.
bullshit. Hey man, it is bullshit. Here's the thing. That goes back to you got a lot of these males back in the day that listen to women. Did it try to make her happy. But I even told my grandfather, I said, that's not masculinity. He wanted to argue with me, and he talks about his sad story, but I'm like, to make a long story short, but I'm like, I'm not doing those things. Why should I do those things to prove myself to an ungrateful heifer? I'm not doing that. Especially to women of today, you can forget that. It's not my job to make you happy. We got duty.
Yeah, my whole thing is you can't make nobody happy anyway. Like a person has to be, like happiness is internal. There's certain conditions that have to be met before you can, you can't be destitute and be happy. There's a certain level of material success that you have to have. Like you can't be stressed out, worried about how you're gonna make ends meet and be happy. That's not gonna be the case. But but having money in and of itself won't make you happy either. And that's one thing you gotta realize. Like having a life of material comfort. Like how many motherfuckers done killed themselves and was rich as a motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, bro. Like some of them are the most unhappy. You know what I'm saying? Like Betty Friedan was like a materially wealthy Jewish woman. And she was like, fuck, I want to go to work. I don't like the identity that I have, like being a mom and being a homemaker. So she was like, fuck it, I don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? She rejected staying at home. But black women now, like if I can't find a man where I can stay at home, I'm settling.
Well, that's because they made up this. They made up this idea.
Look, I'm just tired
as the article suggests. They just made this shit up out of nowhere.
I'm just tired of I'm just tired of men and women. I'm tired of men and women saying that masculinity inheres and going out and working, busting your ass off, and then femininity relies in, just kind of like sitting around the house and doing arts and crafts and shit and doing Martha Stewart type shit. I'm not saying look.
Hell, they don't even want to do that, GG. They don't want to do shit.
Hey, bro,
they want to retire. They don't want to do arts and craft, nothing.
Yo, let me say this.
Bro, all I can say is, look, all I can say is this, man. If you believe what you're told is masculinity from narcissistic loafers and chiseling ass, gold digging ass women who basically are using what white men are telling. I showed you that video before I even went into this. You got some white chick like 50-50 is beneath them. Like 50-50 is beneath you? First of all, women ask to get their ass out there and get jobs and education and shit and to have the same rights as dudes. You ask for that. The last time I checked, I don't hear women saying, hey, look, I don't want the education. I don't want the job. I want my man to have it, or my son, or my brother to have it, so he can take care of me. I don't. They ask for civic equality, liberal egalitarianism, and financial independence. That's what you ask for. But then you're saying if you're gonna have a man, then he has to be able to be, make so much money to where, I could be financially dependent on him, and I don't have to worry about shit.
I'll say this.
But you competing in the market with a motherfucker you demanding be able to provide you something from the market. You want to be you're free to go where you want to go and do what you want to do. You can go to school, have any kind of job you want, be in any kind of profession you desire. But now, after doing all of that and demanding that you be able to do all that, now you're saying that you got to have a man that's making more than you, or like you don't even want to pay into the household. But here's the kicker about the shit though, right?
Yep.
And this goes out to black women. Bitch, if you by yourself, you still got to do all the shit you complaining about doing. And if you got kids, you got to do it for them. So if you by yourself, you still got to wash clothes. You still got to cook food. You still got to mop and sweep. You still got to do all that shit. But the only thing you hate to have to do is to do the shit for the nigga. You don't want to do shit for him, but if it ever comes a time when you need something, you want that motherfucker to do something. So all this argument to me is, it's the double duty work at the house, which, by the way, I don't know too many dudes who don't do double duty work their goddamn self. I don't know too many black dudes. I can't speak for white dudes, but even I can speak for white dudes. That I've seen white dudes cook food, wash clothes, change diapers. I'm watching white dudes change diapers at their houses. I'm looking at the motherfucker like, damn, this motherfucker just, changed the diapers and shit and got the milk and got the bottle and burped the baby and put the motherfucker in the bed. While this wife out here talking to me. We all used to watch the fucking The Living Dead, the whatever the show, I can't remember the name of the show now.
Walking Dead.
We used to watch that shit every fucking time it came on. It was like me and two white couples and shit. You know what I'm saying? But I went to graduate school with them, so, we drink beers and smoke and drink and, watch the motherfucking Walking Dead together. You know what I'm saying? And I would be over their house or whatever the case may be, or they'll come where I'm at or whatever the fucking case may be. But the point is, I'm watching these motherfuckers in a domestic setting. I've never seen black dudes that won't do some fucking housework. Even
because we've been socialized. We've been socialized to do all of these things. And they're still complaining.
Bro,
so
let me tell you.
When you start as the silent generation man, black man, and you go forward, we are better than those men. Because those men didn't do anything. All they did was go to work and come home. We do all of the domestic stuff plus our man stuff. And these women still aren't happy.
Bruh,
while at the same time,
I know, like
the women don't do shit that their grandmamas did.
I don't know no old school dudes that didn't do shit either. Like my father. Okay, now let me be explicit here. So I have a stepfather. I got friends who had fathers and shit. Them motherfuckers was mopping. Oh, let me mop this floor. Let me sweep this up. Let me vacuum the floor. I seen grown ass men vacuuming and putting dishes in the dishwasher, starting the cycle and shit. You know what I'm saying? I've seen grown ass men washing clothes and shit, ironing their shit before they go to work. It ain't like I just saw only women doing housework. I've seen grown ass men when I was fucking an adolescent and a pre-adolescent doing housework. So this whole notion that men just sat back and did nothing, I don't know that. I've never experienced that.
It doesn't exist.
And I can cook better than a woman, to be quite honest. I just can, you know what I'm saying? Because I like to be able to do whatever it is I'm doing with some degree of excellence. You know what I'm saying? So like if I'm gonna cook some shit, I'm not just gonna slap the shit together.
Yeah, most of us can. We were socialized that way is what I'm saying.
Well, I'm socialized for excellence in whatever I do.
We all were.
You know what I'm saying? So
and that started with Generation X.
You know what I'm saying? I'm socialized. I mean, all I'm saying is I don't know dudes that don't do housework and shit. I don't know any, man. Even like most of the niggas I know now live alone. If they want to clean house, they gotta clean the motherfucker.
If you go in the kitchens of New Orleans right now, it's dominated by men that's cooking. The culinary capital, man. It's men. It's predominantly of men. It's men. It was considered a masculine thing to cook.
Bro, you ain't saying nothing, nigga. Give me a Holy Trinity, some motherfucking tomato paste, some crushed tomatoes, some motherfucking garlic powder, onion powder,
and get down with it, GG.
You know what I'm saying? Give me some salt, some motherfucking, boy, I'm putting some
jambalaya
together.
Hey, man, y'all look on my channel, man. I made some spaghetti sauce from scratch and it blew their minds. They was like, what the hell? Like, come on, man. Like, this is what we do, right? Everybody looking around like I'm crazy, but this is what we do.
Then getting on the barbecue grill, shit, that's cooking too.
Oh, we all nice on the grill.
Niggas barbecue all day, every day, man. You know what I'm saying?
Make your own sauce.
But we don't cook though. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers don't look. This is the thing that trips me out about the shit though, right? I had a bitch complain that I cleaned up and cooked and fucking kept shit tidy too much. The bitch wanted this more sloppy. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No, because they like chaos. That's why.
You mad that I'm cleaning up? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Because that means she got to do something now. You fucking stand it up.
Hey, let me interject. What it is that, I keep saying these modern huffers, they hate men who are kind-hearted, good-hearted. They hate men who are clean. They hate men who can do for self because you're raising the standard. That's why they complain. But when they get a certain type of dude, that's why they avoid certain dudes on purpose. But at the same time, this is why they want to try to find fault. Because if you as a man who got it together, who's domesticated, who can do domestic work and take care of himself, they have to step up, and they don't want to be held to no standard. It's because it doesn't fit a narrative. So
women would always maintain leverage. So they're always going to move the goalposts to maintain the leverage. That's what it's all about for them. So no matter what man that they end up with, they're going to find a complaint about his ass no way. So they can maintain some type of leverage. I mean, we can go back 100 years, 120 years and read Robert Breitbart. Breitbart's law tells you this. The women haven't changed. The only thing that's changed is the laws. But they're operating the same damn way they were operating before. They just got different laws that they could take advantage of today. It's the same women. They biologically have not changed. They are exactly the same. The only thing that's different are the laws they can take advantage of. And they're going to use those laws to maintain leverage over us.
I'm gonna let Chris Harlan speak, but before I do that, I want to shout out Fernando Grant Sr., Expansion Writing, F. Holiday, 63rd Samurai, Rashid Malcolm Tillman, T Fitness for You, and Elwood Johnson, Rashad McKinney, Amani Childs, and Hakeem, man, for hitting me up on the Cash App. Also, I want to shout out some people, man, who hit me up. And I didn't give them no honors because I was, in rant mode. And then, I got into having conversations with various people who chimed in. But shout out to you, Big Kev. Shout out to Leon 008. Shout out to a couple of other people in here, man. I can't even scroll back up far enough to go. Shout out to Cameron S. Shout out to... I just want to make sure I do the housekeeping. To Leon 8 again. My grandmother said the white women she worked for themselves. Worked themselves. Black women got jobs the white women did not want to do. From the field to the white women home to do for them. So in other words, black women, so the white women had jobs too, but they was better jobs than the black women had. You know what I'm saying? So black women had to get the reject jobs. You know what I'm saying? So my grandmother I remember my grandmother working as a nurse at Homer G. Phillips Hospital. You know what I'm saying? This whole idea that women wasn't working is just some nonsense, man. Shout out to 77 Bake Sex. They Were Her Property by Stephanie Jones Rogers. You damn sure right. Because women own property. You know what I'm saying? White women own slaves. So if they couldn't own property though, right? Mark Swift says, love the historical references you use to support your comments. Word. Shout out to Mrs. KP Bailey. She said, we need these history lessons. Thank you, the Baileys. Shout out to Mrs. KP Bailey. Shout out to her. Also, shout out to, damn, man, there's so many comments, bro. Everybody.
The only point in history where white women could not own property would be at the very beginning in pre-colonial America. And the simple fact is, there weren't no white women here. It was only a handful of them here. So we talk about going back to Mayflower and shit like that. I mean, Mayflower had, what, 20 women that got on the Mayflower? Only 4 got off? I mean, there were no white women here in the very beginning. So that's what they're talking about, but they're trying to extrapolate that out for the whole history of the damn slavery. That's not true. They don't understand history. That's why I say you got to narrow down their time frame. Like, what are you talking about? When are you talking about?
So look, let me let Christopher Harlan speak, man. He ain't said what he got to say, so let him say something, man. Go ahead.
Man, thanks so much for your work as always, GG. Because you know what's taught are not facts in school, honestly, at any level for that matter. What's taught mostly are narratives, inside and outside of the classroom. So even when statements are made about specifically just about women, you're going to hear you're going to be taught narratives, not facts, and those narratives are from, you know, white supremacist mythology, you know, of gender, you know, so which demonizes a woman's connection to a man, and that's really the source of this whole contradiction. Is that, you know, she'll work, but and women have always worked, but feminism erases female work that is done like for men or for the male collective in any way. The only work that feminism validates or acknowledges is independent female work, where she doesn't need no man, where you're doing this by choice, not because you have a duty to a man or to men as a whole or to a community or to family. Any work that you do that fundamentally is a duty that includes men as a group, that's by feminism is deemed as slavery towards women. So they don't count that. So
yeah, I see your point. You know, like I get your point.
Right.
So, right. You know, my whole thing is, man, look, I can't tolerate any longer this whole notion that women didn't work. And you know, like or outside of the home, like even if it's the case, like I'm gonna do more research on this because I know people are gonna come back and try to say, well, you know, like, well, women didn't really like the one guy. I couldn't talk to him no more. I'm talking to this guy for 10 to 15 minutes, and he's just coming with this whole narrative of how women were kept out and how they were suppressed. I'm saying that like most of the shit that happened to women had already been happening to men all throughout the fucking Western history. I mean, we had. And like,
that's my point. And that was my point with the pre-colonial America is what he was talking about.
Right. So my whole thing is, I'm just tired of, like, most people throughout the entirety of history in Europe didn't own property, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. like a fucking peasant didn't. He might have worked property, or a vassal, you know, might have worked on land, but the land would belong to the fucking king. Like, or you know, like nobles,
or the noble, or whoever it is.
Right.
But that wasn't their land either. It was the fucking king's land. The land belonged to the goddamn king for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he parceled out the land and allowed people to benefit and, you know, to acquire wealth from it. But like all of the shit was for the most part his and could be confiscated at any moment if he wanted it. Because he was an autocratic ruler. You know what I'm saying? So
right. So but the issue So you know facts and you know history, and you can study history and you can study facts and present them. But the issue when you're talking to most people who are westernized, who are educated in the West, it's not about the facts. It's about the narrative. What you were really going up against when you were talking to that young man, it wasn't about the facts. It was about the narratives that had already had, 20, 30, however many decades of a root, and you're trying to uproot them with facts when it's not even about the facts. It's about how feminism has already spun the facts. And what is their preemptive agenda when it comes to the facts that you're talking about? So feminism will take the facts that you're saying, for example, and say that, oh well, yeah, women were in factories, women were whether that was when men were off to war or even during peacetime, they will take that and say feminism, and say because women were not empowered to be financially, systemically, politically, and economically independent of men, then their work throughout all of time and space doesn't count because those women were not free from men systemically, economically, financially, politically, and structurally. So feminism, so it's not about the facts. They will take those facts and say those women weren't free. Those women, and because those women weren't free, that means that the work that they were doing were ultimately a form of subjugation from men in some way or another. Men systemically were forcing women into these jobs that they had. And therefore, ultimately, women really didn't have a choice, really didn't want those jobs. And so they're even taking away, and this is what feminism does, they will even take away from the agency that women throughout time and space have actually had in their own civilizations, and say you can't really say that women agreed with the men of the civilization that they were responsible for also building. And you see this time and time again. You talk about it all the time, where it's like, in case in point, just when it comes to white women, it's like when you expose constantly, when all Black male studies scholars expose how white women have cooperated with white patriarchy from the beginning of time. Feminists take that and say, you still can't hold white women accountable for anything. They bear no fault when it comes to historical white patriarchy or current white patriarchy. Feminism disregards the facts that you're saying, so it's not about the facts. So for that young man, it's not about him getting in front of a history class or reading a book or Googling and seeing the facts that you're saying. It's what am I supposed to believe based upon what this fact says? What actually happened? And that's what feminism does. So I just want to make it clear. You can have facts and people can be exposed to the facts. But feminism has said, man, women throughout time and space, because they have viewed men as a duty, because they have viewed the family of men as a duty, because they have viewed the community of men as a duty, that duty fundamentally means slavery for women. So everything, no matter how bad they've done, or if it was good, if it was for the family or in the workplace, those women had no choice. They were fundamentally enslaved, so that doesn't count. And you're only going to hear some version of that anytime you talk to a person who has been socialized by feminism, male or female.
So let me give a shout out to Anthony Davis. Let me give him a shout out, man. Appreciate your contribution, sir. Also, I want to give a shout out to Be Easy Glover. First time checking you live, and I'm happy. I can pay my tuition to you finally. I'm starting from the beginning, though. You and Dr. T are my favorites on YouTube. I can't pay enough to you. You're one of my professors. Thank you, Be Easy Glover. Appreciate you, bro. Big Kev said, yep. One big bad faith argument. I think he's, referring to, like the whole idea that, like if women aren't working, for their own, purposes and to fulfill their own objectives independently or autonomously, then that's not really actually regarded as work, according to what my brother Chris has said. But also, before I even move forward, man, at all, I want to shout out Dusty Nuts. Says pay GG on Cash App today. Just go on here, fellas, and thank you for making that call because some brothers did bless me on the Cash App. Appreciate that. So appreciate you, man. Corey Green says all individuals in relationships work. Irrespective of race, gender, political ideology, etc., the delusion of BWs is akin to insanity. I'm just tired of hearing people say, especially women or men say, that they have to be this breadwinner, so that because women really aren't suited for work outside of the home. Their place is to be relegated to the domestic sphere, while men are supposed to be the ones to go out and to do work. And that's a masculine kind of activity where, women kind of clinging to the domestic space is what femininity is all about. And let me just say this shit. Women work to basically be able to get outside the fucking house to what? Now all of a sudden demand that men give them the opportunity to get back in what they fucking desire to get out of? What the fuck, man? Like, you sending mixed signals to men, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I tell you, they're going to keep moving that goalpost. Once they get what they want, they're going to go right back the other way.
You keep sending mixed. It's like you can't win. So like if you go out and you make the bread, if you go out and you make more bread than she got, she jealous because you got a better job than she got, and like you can't outdo her, and that you trying to outdo her is part of the patriarchy. If you don't make as much as money as she do, and you don't have the kind of motherfucking career trajectory that she has, then you low shit. Down, no good ass, dusty ass nigga,
right?
Low down naker. If you do more housework than she do, you trying to upstage her, or you know what I'm saying? You
ain't doing good enough.
You're a faggoty ass type nigga. If you don't do no work at all, then you a fucking lazy ass nigga trying to make her do too much work. It's like,
it's all
how
about
the fuck
leverage.
Can you win in this, man? How
you can't.
You can't. You can't.
You can't. And that's what Briefer's law says. And he wrote that shit 100 years ago. It's the same shit. They always want to maintain leverage even when they get what they fucking want. So you go back 50 years, women have gotten everything they wanted in the last 50 years. And guess what? They're still fucking miserable.
Well, I mean, but let me just say this shit. And going back to this article, bro, like, I got this funny ass motherfucking, let me find this guy. Y'all talk with each other while I find this shit, because I got to show this shit. I have to find it and show it. But I mean, there is no way on earth anybody would turn down a situation in which they really ain't got to do shit. They just get to sit at the crib and like mop or some shit. Like, you know how quickly I'll be able to get that shit done, bro? Like, I mean, like how quickly would you be able to get like housework done? I had that shit done so motherfucking fast to make your head spin. I'll be sipping on motherfucking cognac the rest of the day, chilling.
Well, they'll say that's slavery. Women saying, "Oh my God, that's slavery." I don't feel like it. I was about to do a live stream on this. I said about the whole leadership. I mean, I'm like, they don't want it. It's about leverage and power. It's you can't satisfy somebody who's unsatisfied. It's a personal choice. Too much matters. Too much Hollywood. Stop watching reality TV. But I'm controlling.
The last.
Well, I won't even blame it on TV because again, you go back 100 years, you had the same beliefs, and the TV didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So the women were still operating the same way even before TV.
Right, but
Briefer's law.
The last point that I would mention is that what feminism did, and from its very inception, was it was supposed to make white women specifically their own white race. And when you have a white race or a supremacist race, your relationship to the other lower races or the other races is supposed to be purely one based upon pleasure. You are not supposed to need any of the other races because you're white. You're at the top of the food chain. You're not supposed to want for anything. So when you have modern women of all ethnicities buying into feminism, what that does is all these women now have no need of a man. They have no need for a healthy relationship with a man. The only relationship that they're supposed to have with a man is supposed to be one entirely based upon pleasure and comfort. That's it.
Okay, so
It's supposed to be entirely based upon pleasure and comfort. Outside of that, you don't need anybody or anything when you are your own white race. So that's really the crux of the contradiction. It's the race to be your own white race, which is all the systemic rights that they wanted. And then from there, once you get all of those white rights, then you don't need anybody. That's the whole point of getting those rights. So that's why the demands then that they place on men, even white men, are unrealistic. So that's why now it's not just black men who have been MGTOW or SYSBM. Now you have white men and other men who have been dealing with feminism because it divorces women from their men. It makes them their own white race. And white men are like, damn, so y'all even white above us now. Y'all white separate from us. And so as a result, it's like now their relationships are being funneled through the same channel. So that's that's why you have all this convolution where it's like if there's a woman who's talking, or women in general, the only relationship they believe in having with a man is 100% pleasure and comfort. If it steps out of pleasure and comfort for any definable period of time, they're going to leave, file for divorce, or what have you, because they will say that they're not happy. And that means that they have encountered a moment in time where it is not purely pleasure and comfort for them. That's how they define happiness.
Hey, bro, look, let me just say this. I found what I was looking for. But you see, look at the caption on this shit, right? It says, would you be a stay-at-home dad if your wife made over $500K a year? I'd be a stay-at-home dad if my fucking wife made $250,000 a year and wasn't a bitch about it. You know what I'm saying? You say you won't. Women have said the housework is fucking like hard and all this kind of shit and unrewarded. Man, fuck all that. Like, if I was in a position where it had to be like that, nigga, I'd be the type of nigga going out buying rental properties and shit, going to make shit like, getting extra hustles on. You know what I'm saying? But look at the caption. This is just funny to me. Check this shit out. Can you hear it?
No.
You can't hear that? Okay, let me make sure I can get the volume going on this motherfucker. I don't know why it ain't no volume popping in that motherfucker. Hold on. Should be some volume coming through.
No, you have to you have the volume muted on the video itself.
Yeah, yeah. So Pete, here we go. Let me try to restart this motherfucker.
There you go.
It won't restart it. You bitch ass motherfucker. All right, man. I don't want to see that guy at all. Let me see. Hold on. Command V. Damn, hold on. I ain't mean to put StreamYard shit in there, man. What the fuck? Hold on. Let me see. Firefox. Technical difficulties, man. It's coming. Damn, it still went back. Anyway, here it is.
Would you be a stay-at-home dad if your wife... Would you be a stay-at-home dad?
Man, dude, it's easy to do. And niggas already doing the shit is all I'm saying. Bro, look. What's up, Keep It 100? What's cracking with you, bro?
Yo, what's going on? You can hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. So, look, here's my thing, right? The shit that these motherfuckers complaining about doing double duty with, they already got to do themselves if they got a nigga or they don't got a nigga. They just don't want to do it for the nigga. And then two, niggas is already chipping in. Niggas is already doing housework. And if they ain't doing it, they complaining about, why are you so much? Like, the only thing that pissed me off when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had my first child, you know, with this chick or whatever the case may be. This woman got mad at me because she wanted me to be up if the baby was up. Like, if she was breastfeeding, I had to be up at the same time. I'm like, man, you got me fucked up. You not making, no, man, no. You're not about to be like, this is unfair because you got a breast and I don't. No, man, this is what fucking mothering is. I don't have fucking milk in my fucking breast. So I don't have to be up, man. Take care of that shit. Now, if you got a bottle or some shit and you away, I'm going to make sure I got to tend to it because that's what's got to be done. But, man, don't try to motherfucking make me seem like I'm doing something fucked up because I ain't got a breast, dude. You got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about leverage. It's all about that leverage.
Man, that's about envy. You know what I'm saying? That's dick envy. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a penis, man. You mad as a motherfucker? Like, I done changed diapers the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, it ain't shit to me. You know what I'm saying? That's my kid. I'm gonna make sure my kid is clean. I remember one time, man, I took my youngest daughter, man. She had to be no more than 4 or 5 years old. We in the St. Louis Mills and shit. Cute little fucking girl, man. Adorable. Everybody like, oh, she's so cute and adorable. I'm like, oh, man, here we go. And we in a little baby Gap and shit. I'm trying to buy some little clothes and shit. And she told me she had to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, she got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. So I taken her, and I got to take her in the men's bathroom and put her in the toilet, you know what I'm saying, and like stand over because I don't want her to put her hands in none of that shit. You know how men piss on toilet seats and shit, so I went to clean it up as best I could, but I still tried to hold her up. And normally she'll piss if I hold her up, but she wasn't in or whatever. So I was like, oh, man, okay. Do you have to go or not? Anyway, she ended up pissing all over the floor. You know what I'm saying? So I had to, you gotta clean them up, bro. What am I supposed to do? Let her be fucking nasty and shit? If it's just daughter and daddy, you gotta take care of your kids if they have a mess or whatever. And ain't no, well, I'm gonna wait for hours for your mama to come into contact with you so she can do it. You gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? It's called being practical. But like, don't get mad and shit that, you know, like some basic shit like breastfeeding. If you decide to breastfeed, that's on you. Don't blame me for that shit. I can't, and don't try to wake me up because you up breastfeeding. And then why you gotta be up breastfeeding anyway? Take your ass to sleep. I just don't get it, bro. I don't understand, bro.
Even when it comes to this video that you've played, right? The men are willing to adapt to that paradigm, but women, not westernized women, they're not willing to adapt to their paradigm of where that's your duty. Like, so okay, you may make $500,000 for this year, but are you willing to do that for the duration of our marital life together? Are you willing to take on that responsibility for the rest of our lives? And I'll be the stay-at-home dad, and you respect me. Because
that's not gonna happen, bro.
But the point that I'm getting at is that
would you be a stay-at-home dad if your wife
has taught women that they don't, because if she's making $500,000, the average woman who makes $500,000 in the West says, I'm my own man, so I don't need you. And if I don't need you as a feminized woman, I don't have to respect you. So that's why when you hear women talk about their dating standards, they will have an astronomical demand on a woman, on a man as a potential husband, because only an astronomical demand is a man that they, in their mind, they will respect, because they don't need an average man. If in their mind, they're men already, systemically, economically, financially. So they don't need the average man. So that means they're only going to want a man that is so far above average that it's ridiculous. And that's literally what you see. Like all these women, it doesn't matter if they're 18 going to 60 something years old. They're all making this demand that if they are going to be married to a man faithfully and happily, that's the key word for them, happily married, then he needs to be making all this money. And she can be earning $500,000 and he still, she could have a GED or be in community college, and she will have this super unrealistic expectation of the man that she wants to be happily married to for the rest of her life. And that's because feminism has socialized them to believe that you can be your own white man. So you don't need, so your relationship to a man for any prolonged period of time does not have to be one based upon duty and respect. It only has to be rooted in pleasure and comfort. And if it's not pleasure and comfort, fundamentally you're being oppressed, because you should not need a man, because you have the right to be your own man in this day and age, your own white man specifically. So that's why you're getting this contradiction.
I want to hear from the two guys that just came up. Marcus, what's happening? I thought you burnt out, nigga. And the equalizer.
Yeah, the my phone. I had to switch to my tablet real quick because I'm gonna be in and out of here. Homie, right here, Chris Holland, you're on point, bro. 1,000%, 1,000%, 100,000 million, 100% on point. That's why we're in the soft girl era. What they're trying to do now is meld the two things together where they can be independent yet dependent. They're trying to be autonomous concubines, right? They're trying to put the two together where they can, enjoy the benefits of, being a free, like you say, white man, at the same time enjoy the benefits of white womanhood. And that includes black women. They want to enjoy the perceived benefits of white womanhood, which is, eat bonbons, watch the stories, under the AC. Let's remember, housework, when they were fighting to get out of it, isn't the same as housework in 2023. We got a lot of machines now. A lot of machines going on. A lot of machines then came into the reality of the home. Now, let's be honest. We don't need them neither. Like, for the domestic duties that they perform, we don't need them for that. Let's keep it real, right? But we have pretty much put ourselves into a situation where we have put, I guess, whatever purpose we serve to them in obsolescence because of where we brought society, the point we brought society to. So they feel like, okay, the coast is clear, the work has been done, the heavy lifting has been finished, and now we don't need you. Now we can get your money and all of this other shit. And like you said, pleasure and comfort, right? Pleasure and comfort. And if they're going to be with you and not experience pleasure and comfort, what the phrase that pays is, I can do bad by myself. And doing bad to them is everything you're saying, Chris. You say, well, any obligation or responsibility or accountability, all of these things is like, that it's not fun. It's not pleasurable. It sounds like work. It sounds like responsibility. And if your job as a man is to remove those things from her life, right? That is your job. That is why your heart pumps. That is why it pumps blood. That is why you breathe on this planet. Yep. Is to remove any sort of work or responsibility or stress from her life. And if you're not doing that, then you're useless. She might as well be by herself to deal with those things, as opposed to being with you and dealing with stress with you. And it goes back to, I can do bad. Think of it. I can do bad. Bad meaning all of those things that I just mentioned by myself. I'm going to do bad. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to be obligated. I'm going to be accountable, and all these other things, and stressed as a single person, as a single woman. Because if I'm going to be in a relationship and this man doesn't come and do that, then he's useless. He might as well be dead.
That's right.
That's right. And I'll say this too. You can still do those things, and she still won't respect you. She'll respect Pookie down the block. I mean, I'll just even throw an example because I'm about to go soon. Is that I'll even talk about, the whole thing when these women marry these multimillionaires. They don't have nothing but their looks, and they're still unhappy, but they want to take him to the clinic and complain about how horrible he was, but she never talk about her stuff. It's like basically they want to be grown. They want to be the woman child. I call them the woman child. The woman child. That's what we got going on. Entitlement, no responsibility. I have said this. You're not no child. You're an adult. It's time to grow up. Since y'all claim to be so mature.
When they dropping that movie, The Woman Child, when we could go see that? I want to see that.
You can see that on my YouTube channel. I'll be dropping that live, and I'll be dropping some videos on the Chronicles of the Woman Child. Subscribe.
Viola Davis gonna be in that?
I don't know.
She probably ain't gonna make an appearance in that one, but
I'm gonna see that movie. I gotta see that. The Woman Child. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, subscribe, but I'm out.
All right,
man, be good, bro. Be good. Go ahead. Chaos, you just came in. What's happening?
Oh, what's good?
What's happening? Talk.
What's good? Yeah, man. And actually, I'm a little speechless. You should ask how old he was, Gigi, because usually the age will determine where his mindset is, including the indoctrination on how he thinks. Because for him to think like that, he could be falling range after college, maybe. In that certain thing.
Which dude are you talking about? Who you talking about?
The one that you had to sit there for 10 minutes, had to sit there and had to show him, not to explain, show him, not just of the history of it.
You talking about the young boy you booted off?
Yeah, man. I just, like the whole narrative. Look, I get, I understand the narrative, but at some point, man, I'm like, look, bro. Men used to commandeer the checks. Like I ain't never seen a man commandeer a check from a woman, man. I just never seen it, bro. I've never seen a black woman say, "Here's my check, baby. Here it is." I ain't never even had one bring me a motherfucking check. Here it is. Here's my check. Here's my contribution. Here's the check is. Let's put it. These chicks is mine.
Well,
but then they want your shit though. They feel like they're entitled to the shit you got. I'm like, nah, bitch. No. Nope.
I ain't gonna lie.
If you ain't saying it, if this is our shit, then it's my shit too. It is what it is.
I've had a couple of chicks break bread for me, but that's a different story. That's the exception. We talking about the rules here.
Man, I ain't it's one thing for a chick to break bread with you or to give you something. It's another thing for a motherfucking chick to be like, "Here's my paycheck."
Do what you
want
on
a consistent basis, like
right? Yeah, nah.
I ain't never had a chick come to me and say, "Nigga, all of my earnings are going into this account."
Right?
Nah, I ain't no nigga. Nah, okay, now I didn't. It's some shit that I didn't. Like a chick will be like, "Here, baby, I want you to have this." And okay, that's cool. Thank you, boo.
I'm slacking in my Mac, and then what I'm saying, I'm slipping in my pimping. I ain't getting the whole check. I'm getting a little piece of something there. You know what I'm saying? I need to be up on my pimp game.
Yeah, you're a safe haven for these hoes, nigga. You need to get aggressive. You safe haven for these bitches, man. You know what I'm saying? You need to get your motherfucking game up, and I'm gonna tell you how to do it, baby.
I'm faith saving. I'm safe haven, baby. You know what I'm saying?
What you need. You need to tell them, hey, look, I got something to tell you that's crucial. It's real, and it's gonna hit you with the force of a freight train, baby. What's that, daddy? I'm a motherfucking pimp, bitch. You need to break yourself. No.
Check it out, baby. It's me and you, baby.
But enough of the jokes, man. But I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing I wanted to do with this video, man, was to demonstrate that the whole notion that a man is supposed to supply, men are supposed to supply soft lives for women,
right,
of the kind that bourgeois white women enjoyed in the 1950s or during Victorian
and
England.
very few of them enjoyed it.
That's why I said bourgeois.
Right.
Because I mean, like, not every like white. First of all, Marxism wasn't made for black people in mind.
Yes, correct.
That's the first thing motherfuckers need to understand. Like, Marxism in and of itself was not made for black folks. Wasn't made for slaves.
Socialists hear that.
It was made for white folks to criticize white folks about economic injustice. That's the first thing motherfuckers need to come to reconcile. And it was made, Marxism was created prior to the advent of the labor movement. Okay, one can argue that like a lot of Marxian philosophy is predicated, a lot of labor movement activities were premised on Marxian ideals. But, they might not have taken it as far as Marx wanted it to be taken. They didn't want to get rid of capitalism, but what they wanted to do it was at least be remunerated fairly, be given breaks, and, to have the capacity to still generate income when they were sick, if they were dedicated and loyal to the company for a certain period of time. And then not to have to work 12-hour and 15 to 24 hours work shifts and shit. Like, hold on, bro, we gotta pay vacation, all that shit, and drawing like retirement. Man, that's some relatively recent shit. That's post-New Deal type shit. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't always the case. And, women had to, there was all of this shit about, women just were just like living soft lives in the home, and they were, bro. I'm asking, go look at a movie from the 40s and the 50s and show me the movies where there were no women out doing nothing, like, in terms of, like, work.
I'll wait.
I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? But look, man, I'm about to slow this motherfucker down.
I'm with you on that. I'll wait for that.
He say, act your age, not your shoe size. The artist. I feel like Orange Juice Jones, like, hey, man, I take all that shit back when I'm about you all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I made sure you had the best. You know what I'm saying? I went and canceled all them credit cards. You know what I'm saying? Like, I bought you all kind of things. I even bought you mink coats and shit. You know what I'm saying? I had you lace. And then I saw you with that old crumb cake, hush puppy motherfucking cat you was walking with down the street. Bitch, go ahead and fuck with that nigga. You dismissed. It's a wrap.
But shit you can't even pronounce. That was my part, bro.
That was back in the day, you know what I'm saying? That was, hey. But, it just goes to show you, nigga, you can give a chick the world, she still don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? If she, a woman, if she got it in her mind that she ain't gonna be loyal, she ain't gonna be loyal. But, at the end of the day, man, all I'm trying to do is let the people know, man, all this soft girl shit and, to be a real man, you gotta pay all the bills. Like when in history was it such that men were exempt or women were exempt from work at all? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is this shit?
Never.
I just don't understand it. I'm ready to smack motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying over this shit? I'm tired of hearing it, bro. And I'm tired of hearing niggas. Like, I heard some dude, man, the other day, man, this pandering ass motherfucking dude, bro. He pissed me off really bad, bro. Just hearing. Let me show you this shit, man. Look this. Let me show you this shit, bro. You hear this shit? Can you hear it?
This dude, man.
Look at this motherfucking bitch ass. I'll slap a nigga like this. If I was in his presence, I'd tell him, nigga, hey man, nigga, I don't like you, dude. I'll just tell him straight up, I don't like you, nigga. I think you's a bitch ass dude. You know what I'm saying?
He's a new Derek. That nigga.
Check this nigga out, man. This Derek Flaxen.
So you need her to work, and you want her to fuck you good, and you want her to cook for you, and you want her to have your children, and you want her to rear them, raise them, get them to school, and you want her to be your confidant, your peace. So nigga, you need to and too. How you gonna want you a woman that works but you ain't a man that works and? You want her to work and hold you down, make sure she can speak life to you, but you get to just work and come home and play the video game. Work and mow the lawn every 2 weeks, but she working and washing your doodle stains every 2 days. We gotta make this make sense. Well,
who the fuck does how money that she work for?
He's just trying to get money from women, that's all.
And look, I hate these motherfucking dudes right here, man. I think he's a bitch ass nigga. I'm just gonna keep it a buck, man. I think that's a bitch ass dude, man. But like, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, man, I don't know no niggas that don't do no work in the house, bro.
Right.
I don't know none, bro. Know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
at the end of the day, that shit still don't matter. Nigga, it don't matter, nigga. Don't matter if you making more money than she made. I ain't never had a chick that made more money than me, bro. Not that I was looking for a broke ass bitch, but it's just the truth. Okay? I ain't never met a woman yet who really can outcook me or outwork me doing housework. Like, I mean, the chicks I seen do shit half-ass. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not playing games. They don't clean up the toilets and shit. They don't clean up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you got to scrub behind the motherfucking toilets and shit, and underneath and under the rims and all that.
Yeah.
All that old half-hearted ass shit. No, fuck all that.
That's
I'm cleaning like a Latino at a goddamn hotel. That's what I'm doing.
Some of these bitches' cribs look like a bachelor pad. These bitches' bathrooms be ridiculous.
Hair everywhere and shit, man. I'm not dealing with that, bro. Like when I go to piss or when I go to shit, the toilet must be nice. It's gonna look like motherfucker, like the old Latino lady at the hotel just wiped that motherfucker down. It is what it is. I mean, it ain't difficult to do. It's just regular maintenance. Clean one room in your house a day.
No.
And then you ain't got to worry about trying to go. Like, why is housework hard if you're doing nothing but light maintenance because you already done made sure you did the deep cleaning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Already. Like, all you got to do is straighten up.
Right. That means you haven't been cleaning.
Again, feminism's initial and its enduring purpose is to make women independent from men. So any standard that they have historically and currently throughout time and space have that is imposed through their relationship with men, through their duty with men, feminism demonizes that. So if a man comes home after working 12 hours a day and you've been at home as this soft girl wife and you've done no housework, if he imposes the duty that, bitch, you here at the crib, why are you not cleaning? Then that, from feminism's narrative, that is slavery. Point blank, right. Period. The moment he imposes a standard that is not, that this is just a standard for the same community that this woman is a part of, mind you. So it could be cleaning, it could be cooking for you all's own children. That is literally, feminism spins that as slavery because she is not allowed to live independent of duty from men and the families of men and the communities of men. She is now her own independent separate race, her own independent separate female race and female community. That's what her duty is supposed to be to. And what is the alpha function of the female independent race? Pleasure and comfort. So as a result, she can have 5 children. She can have 1 child, and her responsibility to her children from the sisterhood, from the independent female race's perspective, is the same. It is whatever she wants, and whatever she doesn't want, her man or men in general are supposed to take care of it. So it doesn't matter if she has 1 child, 3 children, or 10 children. Her duty to them, through feminism's perspective, is whatever she believes at any moment in time. And, the real work is supposed to be picked up by men in general or by a single man.
Hold on.
Listen.
Oh, man. Peace out to True Goy the Dove, man. Damn, man. I ain't know that shit, bro. That was my dude, man. I was just listening to that song 3, the magic number, just the other day. Like, damn.
What's really bad about that news is that they just got all the rights to their music. They got their masters back.
Oh,
and you notice, once you get the masters, what happens? You get deleted. Ain't that so? So it tells you that
we don't know how he died, so I don't want to go there. But That's
I mean, we
crazy.
might have to go there because I know it's not he's not the first one. There are many artists now that some work as hard to sell back the masters. So it tells you something about the masters. You're not supposed to own anything. Just
Well,
saying.
hey, yeah, that sounds like a little bit like,
But
we know niggas is old, man. That dude, he fit, niggas die at 50, bro. You know what I'm saying? Which is fucked up, but black men die at 50 a lot. We like when we get past 35, I think the highest cause of death for us is heart disease. You know what I'm saying? So, it's likely that the likelihood is that he had a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? That's how black men die, man. But shout out to Will A.R. I need to know how to pronounce that shit, bro. I really do, man, because that's William Senior. I'm like, that shit got me fucked up a little bit trying to figure it out. But said there will always be gristle to huff off these hoes. From the past to Steve Harvey, Hoteps, Derek Jackson, whatever. Some brothers got zero integrity. True indeed, bro. You know what I'm saying? Those are actual facts. See, I don't believe, look, some things I say may sound harsh, but I let niggas have it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat shit for men. I'm not going to do it for women either. All this whole soft life and fanalization, they deserve the finer things and all this bullshit, man. What is this, man? These motherfuckers really want to be treated like queens and shit. Like the shit they see in the movies, the queens get treated like motherfuckers waving fans over them and shit, and motherfuckers picking them up and moving them from place to place. Like, what is this, bro?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because I'm about to leave after this, man. Y'all, making sure that everybody close out.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I take what Chris said earlier to another level, because he said basically they want to escape from their duties from men. I'll take it a step further. They want to escape from their duties from society, not just their duties, but anything that they might be either obligated to or judged by, or anything like that. Any judgment, any criticism, any harm should harm them. And the things that happen every day that happen to men, like you might scuff our knees, or things that happen to women. Want to be harmed. They don't want their feelings hurt. They don't want to be criticized. They don't want to be shamed. They want to be able to do what they want. They want to be above reproach. They want all of that removed, aside from whatever duties that they may have to a man or in the home. They want to escape all accountability, all judgment, all criticisms, labels, etc. They want to be able to move in a way that no one else moves. They want to hear what they want. However, want to take to the point where they have.
Yeah, you starting to fade out, dog. You borging out. I can't hear shit you saying, bro.
Can you hear me now?
Still borging.
Let me now.
Yeah, you borging, dog. Like you.
But if I could
now,
just,
man, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, bro.
Okay, go ahead, Marcus.
There you go, Borgin. There you go, Borgin on my shit again. There you go.
What about now?
There you go.
Me now?
Sound good, right?
Okay. Now, basically, what I was saying is on another level. I don't know how much of that y'all heard, but on another level, aside from whatever their duties are to the home or to men, they want to be free in society. They want to be free from judgment in society. They want to be free from criticism, labels, everything in society. They don't want anybody to look at them crazy. They want to be able to eat what they want. They want to be able to get away with violent crime. They in a way, it's further than what white men get. It's almost God. They want to be. They have a God complex.
So you're saying they're insane?
Well, yes.
By definition.
Any people who think they're Napoleon are insane. But what I'm saying is, like, is bigger than just trying to be on the white man's level. It's past that, right? You got women that kill their children. You got women that do all type of crazy shit. They put their hands on men, and all types of things. So that their desire is to be greater than not just men, or not just their role in the home, but society. They want to be deemed gods in human society and in human consciousness. We have to constantly praise them, whether be through the media, anything else. Gods need to be praised, right? So it's even on another level, Chris. Like, everything you're saying is 1,000% on point, but it's past that. It's past that. You know what I'm saying? They want to. Oh, our body count doesn't matter, and this, that, and all the other things. Again, like, these women, especially the black women in particular, are the stats that they have in everything that's like bad is the
They
highest.
lead.
They're in the front. They're winning that race. They think, oh, we're the most educated. No, you're the most everything else, right? But again, you can't talk about their hair. You can't talk about this. You can't talk about that. They want to move as gods. They want to walk through walls. They want to move mountains. And this is where we are at with women in 2023, and it's going to get worse. Period.
And I'll just say one sentence to reinforce what Marcus just beautifully added, is that men, even supremacist men, have to have some level of grounding in reality. But when you have women of those men who want to be their own supremacist men, that means that they have to be divorced from reality in everything. And that's basically what you have. Is feminism is like, in order for us to be our own white men, we have to be divorced from reality. You all need to be because men have to be grounded in reality. So if we want to be free from men, we need to be divorced from reality. That's exactly why what Marcus said is completely true. So in every aspect of society, the whole purpose of feminism is to spin the narrative that you are not supposed to look at female actions in reality anymore. That's only for men.
But think about this also, Chris. Crime cannot happen to them. They can't be victims of crime ever. Being a victim of a crime is for everyone else but them. If you look at any crime statistic, any number that is above 0 in the female department is oh my God, this is misogyny. So men can get killed, men can get robbed, men can get stabbed, men can get shot. Anything can happen to men. That's normal. But anything that happens to women, even trans women, right? Even them, if they put 1 on the scoreboard, that is 1 too many.
Because feminism means that they have to be above reality.
Right.
Period.
God.
So if they touch reality with 1 pinky toe, it means that the patriarchy is responsible.
These bitches want to walk on walk.
Because patriarchy for feminism is synonymous with reality.
Right.
So that's really what they mean when they talk about the patriarchy 99% of the time. It's reality. That's the patriarchy. That's reality. Right. So if they experience the negative side of reality for 1 second with 1 pinky toe, then it is the oppression of men.
It's misogyny.
Right. Period. So that's why you get, again, when it comes to these unrealistic dating and marriage standards, but then again, to the point that Marcus and I were just going back and forth on, that's just the tip of the iceberg. They want to be divorced from all reality in everything.
Right.
Listen, the issue is the fact that any man would even entertain their nonsense is a major problem, because the matter of the fact is, white men median income weekly is only $1,111. All right. Black men's is 951 out of the 118 million people who work full time. All right. Lifetime income for men from less than high school to graduate net is 1.18 million to 2.68 million. Okay. So this 1% lifestyle, which technically has always throughout time been reserved for less than 10% of the people, which in other words is obviously less than 5% of women, and they all had to be cultivated to even be within that percentage. So even in current times, you have to make roughly $548,336 a year gross, and that's only 1.57 million tax returns. So that includes married people. So let's be conservative and knock off 30% of that. So that's the amount of people who make that kind of money. It's statistically impossible that even 10% of the women will even qualify to be with men who even make that kind of money, which 500 something thousand is not rich to fucking even begin with. Second, the amount, all we have to do is look at their deeds. If women are so superior, why do they go to college and they're not majoring in STEM and things that build and protect the country? They do not go to college. They do not apply to college for that. They do not graduate out of college for that. So that tells me that's you really don't want to do that, which is fine, which is why I don't take them serious. So when they start talking, I know they don't want to hear the truth, but I just point them in those directions so they can shut the fuck up.
It is, man. I'm gonna show one more thing. It's from Dennis Spurling's channel, which keep 100, man. I know that's your best friend right now, but
what's
I
that?
just want to show. I'm showing a video from Dennis Spurling's channel, but I mean it's a short, and it just underscores my point, though, right? So here it is. It's from a Filipino woman, right? So check it out. Yeah, you can't hear it.
Telling what they'll do. Me, I'm worried. Why should I be worried? Or why should Filipinas be worried? Yes, hyenas exist. But guess what? We Filipinas are the lions and tigers of the jungle. So don't worry, my friend. We can handle and protect ourselves from hyenas. Because why? We are the queens of the jungle. We can protect ourselves from any possible harm and dangers coming from the hyenas. Because all we have to do is and the hyenas will be saying
which is crazy. It's not what I really wanted to show. I thought she was talking about like how like white, Filipino women, they don't give a fuck. They don't need like men to actually help bail them out. They don't need men to pay them and make sure like if a man need a nurse, they can be the nurse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if a motherfucker needs some cooking done, they can cook. They ain't got a problem with it. If they gotta go out and work, they don't give a fuck. They'll go out and work too. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a problem getting the bag and bringing it back to the household. You know what I'm saying? So, this whole that's what I wanted to play, but I couldn't find it. So I thought that was it, but it wasn't it. So, but my whole thing is, look, bro, I love black women, man. You know what I'm saying, dude? But you got to get this motherfucking work though. You got to get the work. Y'all be trying to give us all this work. You gonna get this work your goddamn self. It ain't no free passes and shit. It ain't you just get to talk about our shortcomings and what the fuck we got going on wrong or how we fall short of the grace of God, and then you get to just talk and talk and talk. You gonna get this work. You know what I'm saying? I'm loaded Lux in this bitch. You gonna get the work too. You don't get ain't no escape clauses. You don't get this word. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, do men fuck up? Yeah, we fuck up. We human. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I want to do is to underscore the fact that women are human too. And you don't get nothing for nothing. There's never been a time in history where women just got to sit back and live a leisurely, luxury lifestyle and shit all across the board. Like, that's only reserved for, like, nobility or, like an elite class of bourgeois women. And most women throughout history, even white women, have never been able to enjoy that kind of lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And then the prosperities from the 50s, that shit is gone in the United States, man. That shit does not happen at all.
But black women is queens. They queens.
You could be a queen, but you're going to be one of them working queens, like,
queen.
Tupac. Tupac said, "Hey, my mama she was still a queen, but she was a dope fiend." You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You can queen, you know, queens. Even the queen. Look at Proverbs 31. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show it to you. Proverbs 31. Again, one more time. Proverbs 31. So peep game, right? I want you to peep game on this. And you know, people say, well, you gotta be making it. Man, you got niggas balling out of control, and these chicks still upset and still feel like they ain't got enough and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or the chick could be making big grip and have enough to support whatever she need, but she just disagreeable and she ain't living her best life and all this bullshit. So anyway, the sayings of King Lemuel, an oracle his mother taught him. So this is mama teaching him. And then if he's a king and his mother's teaching him, then guess who he marrying then? What's the woman gonna be? Marcus? A queen. Fucking if he's a king, he gonna marry a queen, right?
My bad, I was muted.
Queen! So anyway, he says his mama told him. His mama, a wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband is full of confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. Meaning she's not a cantankerous, nettlesome, shrewish, gadflyish, narcissistic, evil, maniacal, malicious, violent, and vindictive bitch.
That's specific.
I'm just saying. She's not lazy,
that in the Bible?
hateful, spiteful, stonewalls him, plays aggressive games, passive-aggressive games. She doesn't work to harm him or to ridicule him or to bring his image down. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. Means she's industrious. Okay? She's like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. She gets up when it's dark, meaning she ain't living that soft life, being pampered. The bitch is getting up. She provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. She considers a field and buys it, meaning she's motherfucking capitalistic and opportunistic. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously, meaning she ain't no lazy soft girl, motherfucker. She out there getting the bag. Her arms are strong. She ain't no weak ass chick. She out there getting it. She riding around and she getting it. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grabs the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for a bed. She don't go out and buy them, she makes them. She's clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gates, where he takes a seat among the elders of the land. She don't go out and buy them, she makes garments and sells the motherfuckers. She don't buy shit, she ain't worried about buying Gucci, Fendi, Prada. She worried about making the shit and branding it, right?
So Gigi, what
she makes linen garments and sells them and supplies the merchants with sashes. She's a fucking wholesaler, not a customer.
That bitch sound like a pygmy.
Well, hey, it is what it is, bro.
That bitch is a pygmy.
Well, that's what his mama, who is apparently loyal, nobility and royalty, a damn self, saying this is what you deserve, son. A woman like this. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks wisdom. And faithful instruction is on her tongue. Not, fuck these niggas. She speaks wisdom and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness, which is what the fucking soft girl life is all about.
Can't eat bread? It sound like Miss Silly.
Her children Arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Look, charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her this reward she has earned, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. King of Masa. But the whole point is, come on, man. I'm not saying that, I'm not hyper religious or anything like that. All I'm saying is, you have an emblem, an analogy, an example of like not being a lazy ass bitch thinking you're supposed to get the world at your fingertips.
But what if you receive is exactly why brothers are like that. That's why the passport bros exist, because you just showed that example of that Filipino woman, and you didn't show the clip that you wanted to. But if you had showed it, that would have underscored your reading of that scripture even more, because that Filipino woman basically, in a nutshell, in that short that you would have showed, would have said, I'm making myself of service to whatever the mission of my man and his household is. If he wants me to go out there, I'm going to go out there. If there's work that needs to be done here, it's going to be done here. My job is to be a part of the mission for as long as I live. That's not an option. That's not a luxury. That's my duty. And because women outside of the West, where women have been made white in the West, women outside of the West live the reality that you're talking about, where they do work, right? They're not living no soft girl life. So as a result, you can go get those same women who know what it's like to work 40, 50 hours a week and still do work in the home, still treat you with respect and like a man. And you can literally, you can do 50-50 with them, and the marriage can last for 40 years, whereas you will get chastised with the same women over here in the West for even mentioning 50-50. And men, like you just showed from that clip earlier. So literally, outside of the West, women are not white. That's literally why passport bros are able. That's what's incentivizing them to go overseas and get women who they can actually work with, who are going to be on their program, and that's completely fair.
Listen, man.
Well, like anybody got any last comments? Because I'm about to close it out, man. And look, all I'm saying is, bro, it might be difficult to understand. It might, it might be difficult to understand, but I just want to show one last thing before I go though. This is what you asked for. This is what the women asked for. Okay. So this right here, what you see, is a document called the Combahee River Collective. It is the precursor to intersectional feminism. It's what women have been fighting for. Okay. This is what they say. The focusing of our own impression is embodied in the concept of identity politics. We believe that most profound and potentially most radical politics come out of our own identity as opposed to working to end somebody else's oppression. I guess black men's. So in the case of black women, this is particularly repugnant, dangerous, threatening, and therefore revolutionary, because it is obvious from looking at all the political movements that have preceded us that anyone is more worthy than liberation, is more worthy of liberation than ourselves. We reject pedestals. We reject queenhood and walking 10 paces behind. So they don't want to be pedestalized. They don't want to walk 10 paces behind, and they don't want to be treated like queens. To be recognized as human, levelly human, is enough. That's it. So, bitch, give me 50% of your goddamn check on this rent. I'm going to pay 50, and we going to get it in. You can do whatever the fuck you got to do with the rest of your cash if you want to be an asshole about it. Or you can say, hey, look, let's all put it in one pot and let's make sure that we all have resources together. All this old, well, you got to do it all. And I thought it was the efforts, the two become one. I thought the two was supposed to become one flesh. I thought that was the spiritual journey of what like a marriage is supposed to be anyway. But it's really actually a joke in this culture at the end of the day, because marriages, they ended 80% by women. And they don't have to have a reason. They just be like, I'm not happy anymore. I want to fuck the pool guy. And then this is sufficient enough reason. No penalty, no nothing. So my whole thing is, I'm giving women, I read the literature. I read feminism. I know what they said. They don't want to be pedestalized. They don't want to be fucking regarded as queens. They want to be human, levelly human. So I'm treating you like just like a regular old motherfucker.
Man, you can't believe what they say.
Shit, I know what the fuck they did say, and I'm gonna hold them to it. I'm not letting off.
That's what she said, but that's not what she
No, it wasn't just her. It was a whole bunch of them motherfuckers that said that shit. I'm not pedestalizing no goddamn body. Like, if you treat me special, I treat you special. But it's a tit for tat. It's got to be reciprocity within the context of any relationship. And if I'm supposed to go out and pay, and this motherfucker just sit back and complain, and bitch, come on, man. And I say, no, I don't think it's worth it at all. Now, well, here's the one thing that we know for sure. Without marriage and kids, you get a trash-ass society. That much is sure. We see the results of that. Now, I mean, we can complain about it. We can argue, because look, let me show you one other thing, and then I'm really for real out of here. And this is the shit from my own channel. Please subscribe to the Green Gorilla channel, where we do high quality work and discussions on an ongoing basis. It's what we do here at the Green Gorilla channel. But fucking Doja Cat. Fuck she doing on anything I'm doing. Hold on, let me go to my account. Cress Welsing. CRSS.
Ooh. While you're pulling that up, Green, just one quick thing I want to say. So No said something earlier, said 50-50 doesn't get you a completely feminine woman. And this goes really to the heart of what you're saying, is that femininity in the West, where women are supposed to be their own independent white male race, is entirely about like you having pleasure and comfort. That's what they mean when they say, that's what women in the West mean when they say a man is going to make me feminine, or the right man will make me feminine. That means you have to be so much more masculine than me. You have to be way out of my league that it's going to make me renounce my
masculinity.
Right, my masculinity.
But here's the deal. Like I said before, all you got to do is go back and watch this video, and you'll see the whole notion of like women being stay-at-home moms and like they live in soft lives in a domestic sphere. First of all, women in the second wave of feminism rejected that shit and said, we want to work.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're out there saying, like, look at my career. I've achieved this. I got this. I got that degree. I got that degree. I'm independent. Well, bask in that shit. You wanted it. You bought into it. Don't say fuck it now. You already in it. You knee deep in trying to gain status in the culture, which I don't have a problem with. But then don't try to retreat to some stay-at-home bullshit after you done went and spent like motherfucking 10 years trying to develop a career. For what?
But see,
I don't understand it. And then look, this idea about women not having to work is a white bourgeois idea that comes out of 1950s U.S. history or Victorian England, and it only applied to a certain class of women. I mean, like, are women actually demanding at the current moment that they be treated? Like, for example, are women at the current moment actually demanding that they be treated like this, for example? Let me find my... Hold on, wait a minute. Look, like this? Like a woman, a white woman, bourgeois woman whose daddy is a fucking like a millionaire or some shit. Like, this is unrealistic bullshit. This is not predicated upon any reality to anybody in any economy throughout the entirety of fucking mankind, through history. So this new femininity where you got women and shit wearing long ass fingernails and shit, fake ass eyelashes, weave and shit, makeup all over their face like a damn slut with these fucking cum blocking eyelashes and shit. With you know, this is bullshit. This is not femininity. It's not femininity. Ass shots, Brazilian butt lifts, fucking liposuction, that's not femininity, man. Motherfuckers is putting on gay trans outfits and shit and acting like it's fucking femininity. And at some point, this shit got to end. It's got to stop. Motherfuckers putting on slut uniforms and shit and then acting as if it's fucking feminine. And then they standing on it like it is. Like, no, it's not. It's fucking ridiculous. And nobody has the heart to say, this shit is fucking ridiculous. I just don't get it. At some point, somebody has to say, this shit is fucking ridiculous, man. The shit you're demanding is ridiculous. The shit you conceptualize in your head as being the equivalent of what a gender role is supposed to be is based upon some Leave It to Beaver, June and Ward Cleaver bullshit.
You know, I think the thing that I would like for you to touch upon in the next, live that you do about this topic, because you definitely got to do another one, is what is you have to the source that enables women to be divorced from their men is going to be imperialist men. Period.
But let me just put it this way. So it should be important for everybody to understand that, the very idea that you don't need men, you mean you specifically don't need a man with you at that moment is what you mean. Okay, that's really what you're really actually saying. You're not saying that you don't need men in general. What you're saying is that you don't need men in your personal life. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, because men have already laid out the groundwork for which you can feel safe in your everyday life. Like, for instance, like the infrastructure is all done by men. It ain't women out there laying pipes, erecting buildings and building bridges and shit. It ain't them that come and, hang electrical wires and shit like that. And, that work in nuclear power plants and, and make and construct and build the infrastructure to motherfuckers. It ain't women out there building fucking wind turbines and shit like that. They not doing that. They're not doing none of that shit. I mean, I ain't saying none of them are out there, but the vast majority of people out there are men doing that work. Okay. Right. And not only that, like the highways and shit like that you get on, the elevators and all that shit, the air conditioning that you enjoy, most of that shit was provided to you by dudes, men. They're the motherfuckers that did all that shit. Well, you get to say, I don't need a man. If we left this motherfucking planet to y'all to do whatever the fuck y'all do because y'all so goddamn confident and shit, most of y'all don't want to get your asses out there and do the dirty work. You only want the best of the best shit that men do. You don't want the leveling work that men do. You just want the top or higher echelon shit that men do.
That's right.
And it pisses me off, man, to hear, the insults and I need to be like able to bask in my femininity. No, you motherfucker, either you feminine or you not. And feminine don't mean acting like a docile infant, like a little fainting couch white bitch. That's not what femininity is. It's not even what niggas asking for. We already know that like women can be like masculine as a motherfucker, but I don't even call it masculine. Bitch is just rude.
Right.
It's just you don't have etiquette. You don't know the concept of charity. It's just like you don't, when it comes to women and sexuality today, you just don't understand chastity. It's no longer a virtue. It's the etiquette that's the issue, not femininity, really. It's called the law of the golden rule. You know, treat others how you want to be treated. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's simple shit. You don't want a nigga to slap the shit out of you, don't slap him. You don't want a motherfucker to be rude and passive aggressive with you, don't be passive aggressive. I don't have a problem with men being called out on the fuck shit that they do, but the problem is we reduce all of the pathology in the black community and in relationships to men.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue I got. I don't have a problem with men being called out for fuck shit. Call us out on it. But don't avoid the fuck shit you do. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but see, you're talking about a standard that men have historically, which is to be grounded in reality, which is if I do something wrong, I got to be called out on my stuff. But
I'll tell you what, though, Christopher, this is a recent phenomenon as it pertains to women not being treated like infants and shit. Like women throughout history have not been treated like infants, bro.
Yeah,
motherfuckers like the Spanish Inquisition, bitches would get punished. Like if you on some old fuck shit, we think you doing some shit you ain't got no business doing, we will punish your ass. Like they'll murder, like this, all this. Well, we can't punish women because they're like dainty and more virtuous. All that shit didn't exist in medieval Europe and shit. Let a chick be on some bullshit and they'll put her ass in the motherfucking Iron Maiden just like they'll send a dude in that bitch. They'll put a woman in the fucking the stocks and shit where apples and shit, rotten tomatoes and shit will get thrown at them. They'll put her ass there just like they'll send a dude in that bitch. But today, we can't punish women at all. And I don't know where it comes from. I need to do more research on this whole called infantilizing the white women. I just don't know where the shit comes, because black women, they'll punish a black woman. They'll hang a black woman from a tree in a fucking minute. Oh, you're uppity there, you little negress? They'll hang her ass from a fucking tree, just like they'll hang a Negro. Now they won't hang as many of them as they'll hang men, but I got evidence that it did happen. Yeah. Okay, but this is. The problem we have is women deciding to say, fuck it, I can do it by myself. It creates the single baby mama situation. And that's just bad for kids. It leaves no legacy. Motherfuckers are really only thinking in terms of what's best for them. And then they calling themselves spiritual and shit. When does spirituality have to do just with your own happiness? In what fucking, name for me one historical tradition of spirituality where the spiritual virtue is only supposed to accrue to you as a fucking individual.
That's the religion of feminism.
Man, well, bro, I'm just saying, at least feminism is supposed to be, an idea that's manifested for the whole of women. But this new shit that I'm seeing chicks on, I need my own happiness and I need my own this and I gotta heal me and then they act like this is a form of spirituality. To me, that's a form of bullshit. Look, at the end of the day, one thing about spirituality is whatever tradition it is that you're not the center of the fucking universe. I mean, if you talk about Buddhism, you gotta let go of your ego. If you talk about Christianity, then you have to understand that, you have to submit to the Lord. If it's what other tradition do you want to talk about?
Right, but you're talking about religions that really, when you look at their history, were counter to the mainstream religions, which basically the mainstream religions, and I'm not talking about any big religion. I'm talking about the religion of the world has basically always been hedonism. And so you have these little religions that pop up throughout time to counter that religion, which, you know, becomes the dominant form of a society at any given point in time, which is we are the center of the universe. We can do whatever we want to. Our only goal is just more pleasure and more comfort. And so you have Buddhism and Islam and Christianity and whatnot that pop up over time to counter that. But so that's all that feminism and white supremacy is. It just says the new goal of white supremacy, and this is just to answer your inquiry from earlier, is just to create more white people. So it is to create new enclaves, new protected classes of whiteness. So whoever that's the whole goal of the United States, is to be the greatest white nation ever. So you can be from Afghanistan, Ukraine, what have you. You can be LGBT, white, you name it, and we're just going to give you whiteness, and this is going to be a white heaven on earth. And everybody can come here and be made white, except Adolf's, of course, and except Adolf's men. But that's, you know, that's the source of the conflict, you know. So yeah, you know, so, but that's why the pleasure of not just women, but any group that immigrates to the United States, honestly, it's just their own pleasure.
Hey, look, I'm gonna read this shit for my boy Jay Diesel, man. You know, you gotta. I'm doing this for you, man. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me read this shit for him, and then I'm about to fade us out after I show this Francis Cress Wilson joint. But let me do this for him. Says starting with 16. It's Isaiah 3:16. I don't know why you got me read this shit, man. He said, the Lord says, the women of Zion are haughty. What does the haughty mean? You know what I'm saying? I just want my crowd to know. Arrogant, you know what I'm saying? Walking along with outstretched necks, with their ass out, flirting with their eyes, strutting along with swaying hips, with their wop, with ornaments jingling on their ankles. Therefore, the Lord will bring sores on the heads of the women of Zion. The Lord will make their scalps bald. Damn, bro. In that day, the Lord will snatch away their finery, the bangles and headbands and crescent necklaces, the earrings and bracelets and veils, the headdresses and anklets and sashes, the perfume bottles and charms, the signet rings and nose rings, the fine robes and the capes and cloaks, the purses and mirrors, and the linen garments and tiaras and shawls. Instead of fragrance, there will be a stench. Instead of sash, a rope. Instead of well-dressed hair, baldness. Instead of fine clothing, sackcloth. Instead of beauty, branding. Your men will fall by the sword, your warriors in battle. The gates of Zion will lament and mourn. Destitute, she will sit on the ground. So, you know, but that you know, all I can say is, you know, it's just showing you don't get too big for your fucking britches. You know what I'm saying? But it also has some shit in there for men as well. Because your men will fall by the sword, your warriors in battle. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think the two go, like one thing you got to understand is that the two goes together. Like, you know, what happens to women, it will have an attendant result on men. And this is why I wanted to show this. You know what I'm saying? And hold on, let me show this shit.
If we don't see the war, we're in serious trouble. If we don't see the threat, we are in serious trouble. Down at the Black Caucus, they were giving all the statistics. 66% of black children being born in single-family households. That's not to demean that household. White supremacy is saying, I'm taking away the conditions for enhancing the conditions through which you might produce soldiers. contradiction. Anybody else serve up to you in laughingly.
Yeah, man. Francis Cresswellian. Francis Cresswellian told you a long time ago what the fuck was about to pop off. You know what I'm saying? She already let you know how it was going down. And here we are. You know what I'm saying? Here we are. And look, I don't have a problem with people being themselves or whatever. I don't want it to make out like, you know, like I hate trans people or whatever. But like the whole thing is, be weary, man, of a promotion of a political kind that makes it, you know, like cool for, you know, niggas to castrate themselves and shit. Like, I mean, it ain't no strange secret, man, when niggas was getting hung from trees, man, that, you know, they was cutting niggas' nuts off and shit. Cutting niggas' balls off. No strange secret, bro. Now, you know, like Carter G. Woodson said, you know, like, if you remove oppression from a Negro, but he's used to it, he's accustomed to it, he'll try to perform the same kind of oppression on himself because the habit necessitates it. You know what I'm saying? So now you ain't got white men hanging motherfucker niggas and cutting their balls off. You got niggas cutting their balls off themselves. God damn. That deserves an explosion. God damn, bro. So anyway, man, I'm about to sign off this joint, man. It was good talking to you on this Sunday, man. I ain't even expect to do this. You know, it was kind of impromptu, but I felt like it needed to be done. Because I'm tired of hearing the dumbass shit, you know, related to women. Supposedly, they don't want to pay shit in order for you to be a real man. Caveman type man. You got to get out there and fucking work. And die and work and die. While they live a life of material comfort because they fucking are worth it. And ask why are the white women demanding that they have jobs and shit? Why they all up in the educational system and shit then? For what? Either stand down or stand the fuck or shut the fuck up. Either stand down or shut the fuck up and chip in. And I'm saying that you say you don't want to be pedestalized, you don't want to be relegated to queenhood, and you don't want to walk 10 paces behind. So I'm talking to you like I talk to any motherfuckers. I'm not this is how I talk, bro. I talk to a woman like that, to a man like that. If we being equal, this is what it requires. Don't require me to all of a sudden change my tone and have a different fucking demeanor, like my whole life is supposed to fucking metamorphosize and I'm supposed to code switch because your ass in the spot. Anyway, man, I'm out this bitch, man. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, man. I'm gonna do the ghetto shit tomorrow. So I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, man. It's been real, man. Speak to y'all on the next one, man.
Peace.
For sure. Peace.